song about beer cans and whiskey bottles, back rows, pasture parties, loose wind tide changes.
Texas country music scene. Ladies and gentlemen, Michael Odis Parrish. Bro, welcome to the show.
What's up,
I got
man?
a rock star on my podcast right now.
Thanks for having me.
I can't even believe it. And you just filmed one last night.
Yeah,
Holy
over
smokes.
Zoom.
Holy smokes. Tell you what, Michael, it's great to have you here, bro. Thank you for coming all the way over here to Salina, Texas.
For sure.
To talk to me about everything music and Michael Parrish and record deals and carpentry and what you, and balloon festivals, bro. I can't wait to have that conversation.
Yeah, that was a good
Tell you
time.
what town was that?
East
Kilgore?
Texas.
Was it Kilgore?
No.
No,
Longview.
Was it Longview?
Yeah.
They really screwed that one up.
Yeah,
They really did.
They got pretty mad.
But I tell you what, the rebuttal from you guys, fire.
Dude, we didn't even have to do
Fire. You didn't have to do it? Your
No.
fans are vicious.
Yes, exactly. They sent out a post saying that basically we had agreed to not say any cuss words, blah, 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 which we didn't. So then we basically just said, no, we didn't. And then our fans just went nuts.
I'll tell you what, and this is not a part of the intro to this because the intro is very specific, and I think it's a great way to introduce Michael Odis Parrish. But your fans are vicious, man.
Yeah.
And I remember
sure.
back when you guys were blowing up, and we'll talk about the whole progression. I've been fortunate enough to be close with you guys the whole time. You know, back in the day, we're sitting in Bostocks, and it's like a few of the cheerleaders and some of the guys on the team watching you guys thrash that stage.
Yeah.
But your fans have always been ravenous, and you know, good riddance to the people who decide to go after Koe Wetzel and the Convicts, or Koe Wetzel, formerly Koe Wetzel and the Convicts, Koe Wetzel, or Odis P.
Yeah, for sure.
But I'll tell you, Michael, you know, I want to start with a couple of questions. And I was telling you I had, I was going to say your biggest fan sent me a really good question, and I was going to incorporate this into the podcast, but I was like, you know what? I'll just ask it outright. And I was expecting him to ask, based on his Twitter recently, I was expecting him to ask something really sarcastic and stupid, but he didn't. And Koe Wetzel asked me to ask you, as one of your biggest fans, how do you keep your faith while you're playing in one of the rowdiest bands in Texas?
Man, honestly, it's been a lot of laying foundation. It's a lot of groundwork. I'm not as good as I should be, like getting into the word daily and everything like that. But most recently, over the past few years, it's been my wife, man. Like, she makes me want to be a good spiritual leader for her and for our future kids.
Shout out to Mia.
Yeah, for sure.
See you, Mia.
Keeps me grounded.
Yeah, that's awesome. Also, you guys seem like you have such a cool relationship. When you think about, like,
She makes me look good.
Yeah, she makes you look good. And, you know, it's cool because I know, and Mia, I don't want to get into all the messages I got last night and questions I got from Michael that were a little inappropriate. I'm just joking, not really. But you guys seem,
trouble, man.
you guys seem like, you know, you got a real cool thing going on, and it's kind of, it operates independent of this fast-moving lifestyle that's happening on the other side, like your career, because you got a lot of shit going on outside of your marriage and your home that you're building,
right?
And your faith, you know.
Yeah.
But you seem to be able to separate those things very well. So
to.
we'll talk about that a little bit later on because I think it's fascinating. And there's not been, based on my perspective, from my perspective, there's not been many people who are good at that, keeping that separate. Right. You guys have had explosive growth, but you've stayed the course for the most part. Yeah. You got another huge fan. This might be your biggest fan. Goes by the name of Taylor Parrish. She sent 3 questions last night. So we've got several questions that you guys sent in. And I want to ask all of them. I'm going to wait to the end to ask the others. Several of them are incorporated into the stuff that we already talked about, the things that we want to cover. But Taylor asked a really good question. I think it's important for your fans to hear. How did you get the coolest little sister?
Well, let's see. She's like 10 years younger than me.
Is she really?
Yeah. I've got one sister that's 2 years younger than me. That's Ashley. Taylor was born in like 2000. And now we've got a little half brother who's 6, Bo. Yeah.
Shout out to Bo too.
Yeah,
man,
so
I can't imagine having a little sister today.
Taylor was the little bow on the Parrish package for sure. I mean, it was
Really?
the four of us for, 8 years or so.
Yeah,
And then,
Shout out to Taylor. I can't imagine having a little sister in 2020.
She's cool because she got to hang out with me a lot.
You hear that, Taylor? That makes sense. You're a cool guy, man. You're a cool guy for sure. Also, another question that she asked, I thought was fascinating. I wasn't going to ask you. Is do you feel like your college degree was valuable, or do you wish you had gone right into your music career?
I definitely think it's valuable, mostly from like when we were first starting out. I did most of the online presence, like trying to do the promotion and the marketing side of things.
When was this? We talking when we're starting out, like out on parole?
Yeah, out on parole. Out on parole and right before Noise Complaint. And once we released Noise Complaint, we kind of were able to get some management and stuff, so I got to focus on the music a little bit more. But yeah, I would definitely say, like, I still go back and forth between whether I should have done business, because I majored in business and minored in music. So sometimes I kind of wish I would have flipped those.
Really?
Because being a music major would have made me 10 times the guitar player that I am.
Do you think so? Do you go back and still study?
Technicality. Yeah, I do. I continuously try to grow, but there's something about being music programs are hard. I mean, hours of required practice time. It forces you, like, I don't play jazz.
Yeah.
I wish I did, because it's one of the most technically challenging styles. So it just makes you a better guitar player. So
that's interesting. You know, I think this is, I talk about like the institution of higher education a lot on these podcasts, Michael. And for someone as cerebral as you, I think you can kind of, this probably resonates with you as well. So I think in general, that whole thing's broken a little bit. But studying music, I think, is probably one of the most kind of wholesome and true to origin education, I guess, pathways. Because, but also it's all high risk. Like if you're going to study music, you're going to get a major in music in a university. How much money are you going to pay? Average?
9 times out of 10, you're going to go be a band director or work for some kind of, like, I mean, you could do like music business.
Yeah.
Do something for a company. But yeah, I mean, that's a lot of money in, and honestly, not much comes out of it.
Yeah.
Typically.
Yeah.
You know.
Unless you're a shredder like Michael Odis Parrish. I tell you, man.
We just got lucky, man.
I don't know. I think, you know, probably luck. I'm sure luck does play a big part of it, because we're going to talk about like when you guys, in a bit, about when you guys thought you felt it coming, when you felt the surge.
Yeah.
And then when you realize it was here. Because I think both of those moments along your path are fascinating. I'd love to hear about it.
Yeah, yeah.
But I wonder for you, you know, just generally, like, how did you see yourself studying music, getting into that career? You studied business that was your primary focus.
Yes.
But you were in a band. You were playing music in bands since what age?
Yeah, I mean, I started playing guitar when I was 14. Started in the praise band when I was 16. Tried out for a metal band when I got to Tarleton, and didn't really mesh with the other guitar player. And I played one show with him it was actually the Rocktoberfest at City.
I remember those.
Yeah, it was a good time. But man, I was used to playing like worship settings, so like, and I was a statue back then. I didn't jump around like I do.
Yeah, you're a little rowdy now. A little Angus Young.
A little bit.
Action.
Yeah.
You're a big Angus Young though.
Yeah.
Holy smokes. Yeah, it's interesting, man. So I was going to ask you, that's the next question really, is how you got into playing the guitar. So through the church?
Started out, well, my dad played in college, like took it as a extracurricular, whatever. So I loved it all the way back then. Started playing when I was 14. My uncle, who actually I think passed away like a couple of months ago, he taught me when I was like 14, just like a couple like intros to some songs, and then I kind of took it and ran with it just in that like week that I was at his house for the summer. So he was like, dude, take my telly, like go home.
Oh, that's awesome.
Practice. Yeah.
Not a bad guitar to start with.
For sure. It's a heck of a lot better than like the next one that was mine. I still have
Squire.
it. No, lower. Washburn Lion.
Ooh.
It's like $150.
Shout out to Washburn.
Dude, but I'm going to get, I want to get some pickups like Sonorous that just made my new custom. I want to get him to like redo the electronics and put some new stuff in it. So
that'd be awesome.
Like
have like
sick.
an SRV #1, Michael Odis P #1.
Right. Yeah, but keep the Washburn logo.
Yeah. That's awesome. Maybe Washburn will make you a custom guitar.
Right. Let's say
we can go on a little tangent here, and I was going to ask you this later because we didn't write it down to talk about it. But you have a custom guitar, don't you? And I've never heard of
two actually.
Two custom guitars. And what is the guitar manufacturer?
One is from Kaser. He's actually both of the guys are in Oklahoma, but Jeremy Kaser made the like that wood grain one.
Beautiful guitar, by the way.
It's the Odis P model.
That's a beautiful machine. What kind of pickups are in that guitar?
It's the same ones that are in that Black Beauty Les Paul. It's the 490s. It's really, really hot humbuckers. I love it.
Shred City.
Actually, so yeah, that one is made out of like cocobolo wood.
Really?
Solid. So it's like really dense. It's the heaviest guitar I have.
Really? What are Les Pauls made out of? That's a heavy guitar too, traditionally.
Man, I think they are made out of a few different woods. You can kind of yeah.
But this is a super dense. Is it single piece of wood? The body?
The face of it is the cocobolo. The back of it's cherry, I think, Brazilian cherry, or something like that. So it's 3 pieces actually. There's like a slab of maple in the center of it, so it makes it like this little pinstripe kind of look. It's pretty sweet.
I haven't seen it in a long time. It's a beautiful guitar.
Yeah,
and you got another one.
Yeah, the new one is made by Sonorous Customs. It's Matt Fair out of Oklahoma.
Really?
Shiloh has 2 from this guy.
Really?
Dude, phenomenal.
Are they? So what about these? And a lot of people don't know. I've never had a chance to play guitars made by these little small custom guitar makers. If you've never had a chance to do it, I encourage you to go and find one and play it because they're different. And
even a no-name who has good craftsmanship, there's something completely different to playing a handcrafted, hand-wired guitar as opposed to something that you're getting off the assembly line.
Yeah, preach that, man. That's huge. And and this is the thing about you. For people who don't know Koe Wetzel music or Odis P, because you just got that going.
Yeah.
You are like a real rock guitarist. Like if you listen to Koe Wetzel music, what differentiates, in my opinion, what differentiates that from even the early days, that from Texas country music,
right,
was the rock, and a lot of that came from lead guitar,
for sure.
So you've kind of always been driving this differentiator for Koe Wetzel, the project,
right,
with your guitar playing. So that's always been a fascinating thing. A lot of times you hear Texas country artists, and you guys were always very different. I've always, when I describe your music to people, I say it's like what you would think Leonard Skinner would be today.
Right.
I would call it like Texas rock. You know?
Yeah, Texas rock and roll.
And but it's now kind of is it growing, this kind of little subcategory of rock and roll and country?
We started calling it Texas rock and roll at first. Colton Moore and the Clever Few were the first ones that kind of let us come open up for them. Which his lead guitar player is Ryan Wilcox. If you haven't listened to him, like that's some good old fashioned rock and roll.
Is it?
Yeah. So they started saying Texas rock and roll, so kind of like to pay homage to them. Once they broke up, we started doing it. Now there's a few different guys that started calling themselves Texas rock and roll.
Yeah. I think you guys did it first.
Yeah?
I think you guys did it first. Anyone who disagrees with me, Koe Wetzel fans, get them. Koe Wetzel, Odis P fans, go after that ass. Because I think you guys did it first. And I always, talk about like if you just listen to... And I think going back to Out on Parole, which we opened this thing up with, a song from that album, you guys, in my opinion, make albums in the old way of making albums. Like it's a story, and it's almost designed to be listened to from start to finish.
Koe's always been really good with that vision, for sure. Yeah.
And it's a lost art. You guys just started doing the singles,
but
even those have connective tissue.
Man, I would
You
love.
know?
I've already like mapped out all of the songs that I've got written. I think I'm gonna end up doing like 2 EPs, probably a couple
Yep.
singles. But I can make it all fit into this awesome concept album.
Really?
And I really want to do that, but I think it's just too much for the majority of people to like bite off. You know?
Yeah,
There's a lot of
ver-
songs that get lost in the mix if you do it that way.
Yeah, I'm
if
sure.
if you're not as big as Koe and the Convicts.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I can't imagine. I can't imagine you not growing to some extent. Odis P growing to some extent alongside that. Because I listened to and going back up to your faith.
Yeah.
I listened to and please go listen to "Take Me Home" if you haven't by Odis P. When did you release that on Spotify and iTunes?
I think it was the 1st of July.
1st of July. So it has not been out long at all.
No, a couple months.
I've listened to it several times. The story itself, and this is, I can tell that you're a very cerebral guy, and people who are listening to this are going to figure it out as we continue to have conversation. But you think long term, like you're a very strategic thinker. And so when I listened to it, it's funny you said you've got this idea for these 2 EPs.
Yeah,
Because I know that's how your brain works.
for sure.
Like you're putting together a project, a concept, and the pieces of it are individual songs. I listened to "Take Me Home," and it helps me understand a little bit how you are able to keep your faith
Yeah,
and stay close to it. Because to me, that's, and we talked about like you being interested in hearing my perception of what that song means to you.
Yes, yeah.
I
would
think
love to.
to me, and this may be me kind of, my inflection of this, and me kind of projecting myself onto the words.
That's one of the cool
That's
things.
what music is.
Yeah, exactly.
right?
That's the point of it.
Yeah, but I feel like this is you. And I don't know your family background. There's references to dad and direct family members in the song, but it's just like a story of you, like your environment disconnecting you with your faith, kind of, and you trying to stay connected to it and wanting to reconnect to it. That's what it feels like.
That's pretty close.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
So,
really close, actually.
It tells a really good story, though, and there's a lot of room for interpretation in that song. You talk about good music and good songwriting. Good songwriting, to me, that's a huge factor of it. It has to allow the audience to, to identify with it somehow,
Right,
in a variety of different ways.
For sure.
So, what does that song mean to you? Why did you write? What is that song about? Take Me Home.
Like on a surface level, it's kind of just a prodigal son story. Like, I set sail, wanted to go do my own thing, got lost, got too far away, and now I want to go back to what I had before, because now I realize how good it was. So, but on a more personal level, like I can remember, is actually the main reason why I still hold my faith the way that I do. So when, let's see, my dad was a Baptist preacher when I was a kid. I got saved when I was like 7. We moved to Granbury so that he could go to Southwestern Theological Seminary. And he graduated with more questions than answers, which kind of explains, like I was 12 years old listening to his philosophy classes. So, and it blew my mind, but I loved it,
Yeah.
So basically, like, over the past couple of years, I've been able to realize that, like, when we were seeking God, we were together, and we were happy. When we walked away from the church, not necessarily walked away, kind of drifted away.
You and your dad.
The family as a whole, really.
Okay.
So then we fell apart. Like, parents divorced actually about the time that I started going to Tarleton. So that divorce coinciding with me getting into the red dirt scene, that's where I started to go further away from where I thought I would be, further from home.
That's huge, man. That's deep.
So then, like, after a couple years after that, like, I started trying to get plugged in. A couple other people in my family started trying to get plugged in and at least, like, seeking God.
Yeah.
And found healing, So,
Wow.
after listening to agnostics and atheists and evangelicals debate all of these things that we can't know, it really boils down to something that simple with me. Like, Like that's why I hold on to my faith. You know, like I like to think of it like I'm holding on with one hand to what I know from what I've experienced. But through my dad's questions, like I can kind of reach and explore, and like, because like we were talking about earlier, I love trying to find out how other people think. Yeah. Specifically people from different lifestyles and different religions. So
you have an inquisitive mind.
Yeah, yeah.
And which, you know, and like and we're referencing our earlier conversation, we're talking about people with inquisitive minds who are fascinated by science and, you know, continuing education.
For sure.
And personal development. That in certain ways, depending on how you view religion, can conflict with your ideology.
For sure.
So, you know, I think your perception on that and understanding different cultures and also realizing that, hey, that book was written 4,000 years ago.
Right.
There's room for interpretation.
Right.
Within that, just like there is your music.
For sure.
You know, so, but and I feel like a lot of people don't get a chance to do this or don't ever get a chance to know, you know, faith. Whatever that might be to them. And there's so much value, and you know, there are a lot of people out there that really, you know, we started with you know, some atom, right? Some combustion within the universe created, you know, this dispersion of elements, and over time we, you know, were formed and life was created. Right. There's a tremendous value in believing in a higher power and being able to go back to that and let that support your foundation.
Right, right.
So
one of the cool things that came from my dad's own spiritual journey is that even when I was like really plugged into a Southern Baptist church, I'd come home and be like, hey, this is what I learned. And from a young age, he'd be like, well, it's like there's this view that's Christian, there's this view that's also Christian, and there's this other worldview. So even from our developmental years, I was constantly having a safe place to look at different points of view and develop what I thought, you know, which there's not very many people that get that.
Oh, that's deep, Michael.
Especially people that grow up in a very, very conservative evangelical church. Like, regardless of, like, I think that's a good thing. I think religion is good.
Yeah.
I don't think people are allowed to question in a safe place like they should be.
Yeah. I think that exists within a lot of different cultures and a lot of different belief systems, not just religion. For sure. Especially today.
For sure. Yeah, if you're pushing the mold of what keeps things in line, then it's going to be dangerous.
Yeah,
you know?
It is, and we're seeing that happen at like to an extreme degree. And we're not going to talk about politics on this show, or you know what's happening with society. But that's the problem. There's not enough people who were raised in homes, fortunately like mine or yours. And I'm fortunate. Say fortunately because I'm fortunate. I was in a similar situation. Like I was always presented with the idea that I can have multiple different opinions on a thing, and I can do my own research and come to an objective opinion on something, right? Whatever it is. But a lot of people don't grow up like that. Yeah, and that's where you see things like prejudice be created, and and it's an evil thing.
Really comes down to just realizing how much you don't know.
Yeah, self-awareness is huge.
I don't know.
Yeah. And that's self-awareness, man. There's so many people in the world today that lack that.
Yeah, for sure.
To a fault.
For sure.
And it's a slippery slope, right?
Yeah, because it's comfortable to be certain about things.
It is.
It's comfortable.
Tweet that. It's comfortable to be certain about things. Ladies and gentlemen, Michael Odis Parrish, a different breed. Oh, my goodness. That's heavy, man.
Yeah, yeah.
We could have an hour and a half long conversation just continuing along that path.
Yeah, I didn't expect it to get that heavy that quick. That was pretty fast.
Well, that's what we're here for. That's what we're here for, right? Yeah, it's early in the morning. We're drinking whiskey, and we're drinking really strong coffee.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Weird things are happening. Weird chemicals are mixing our brain. Right? Maybe next time we'll add even more. Ooh. Just kidding.
I'm down.
Ooh. Shout out. So let's stay on this music trajectory, man. You talk about when you got into guitar, so you kind of gave us high level. How that started for you. Yeah. I love guitar myself. Yeah. And my big inspiration, like my main inspiration, I'll tell you how I got started real quick. And then I want to hear who inspired you to start. And this is one of the questions. One of your fans asked this question. Hey, it's Kai. Follow him on Instagram, HEYITSKYYYY. Kai, you probably made that when you were really young, but that's a cool handle. What's your biggest inspiration? I'll tell you real quick. Mine was Guitar Hero.
Yeah.
And also all of my dad's CDs. Stevie Ray Vaughan, Life by the Drop was in his truck almost all the time. Leonard Skinner also. I was like a 7-8-year-old kid only listening to that music.
Right. Yeah.
Like if I'm in the truck, that's what I'm listening to, or AC/DC.
Yeah.
Right, these bands with these great guitarists, and Stevie Ray Vaughan especially. But Stevie Ray Vaughan would be probably my biggest inspiration to continue playing. So who are yours? Who are your inspirations?
I mean, it definitely started in a very similar way. Like I always listened to classic rock with my dad. Boston is one of my all-time favorites. Can't go wrong with Boston. That kind of developed into Metallica, and that's how I kind of got into the metalhead side.
Did you have a Schecter guitar?
I did.
Ever? I did too. It's my first electric guitar.
The most disgusting sounding thing. It had like the active EMGs.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that thing was a shred machine.
Shred City. Yeah. Oh,
Good
that's
times. Funny. I actually sold that guitar at Billy Bob's.
Did you really?
Yeah, I signed it. Yeah, I couldn't find anybody to buy it. I looked up the serial number. There's like no info online.
What?
Like,
you guys playing? Were you playing sets with that Schecter shred machine?
No.
No,
not for a long time.
Oh man,
it was kind of like the Strat looking thing. So
yeah.
I mean, it was a cool looking guitar, but it didn't fit our sound at all. It was metal for sure.
Heavy, yeah.
So
you moved into Metallica, and then where did it progress from there? So Kurt was a big influence, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. That all kind of meshed with, I was a preacher kid when I was young, so I couldn't listen to anything. Like even most of your favorite country songs that like just talked about drinking. No way.
Really?
No way. I can't listen to that.
Did you have a strong, intense desire to go and listen to that music? Because you knew it existed. Did you really want to go listen to it?
Once I kind of got to like the rebellious age, that was about the time that my parents were kind of loosening up, So, but yeah, when I started out, it was actually I said this before, but if you haven't listened to Third Day's first 3 albums, they are phenomenal. Like you think of Third Day now, it's all the like super polished, very radio friendly, Their stuff from the early '90s is Southern rock.
Really?
Like some of their riffs and stuff are like take the lyrics out of it.
Third Day, write that down.
Musically, it's like I think Conspiracy Number 5 or something like that. My dad had a cassette, and there was this one song that me and my sister loved because it kind of started out real soft and then it would slam in. And we would make him just rewind that over and over again on a cassette, not on a CD.
Really?
He'd have to rewind it. Wait a second. Push play.
Hard times.
Do it again.
Forget how old we are. We start talking about cassettes and things we used to have to do to communicate and listen to music.
Yeah.
Like we used to have to rewind VHS tapes before we returned them to the rental store.
I had a VHS rewinder that was not in my VCR. My
Did
VCR
you really? You had a standalone rewinder?
Yes. My VCR couldn't rewind.
We lived in the Stone Ages.
Yeah, for sure.
And we're in our late 20s.
Yeah.
It's a crazy thing. It's crazy how fast technology has kind of advanced in our lifetime. So, Third Day. I haven't heard of Third Day.
Yeah.
But I'll check them out.
Check it out.
I'll check them out.
And Jesus Freak, DC Talk. That was like I've listened to this like more recently as well. Yeah. So I'm like, man, like there's a ton of Christian, quote unquote Christian music that is kind of second tier. Mm-hmm. Just doesn't put as much focus on being a great musician. Yeah. But these guys, man, the music they were hanging with the secular scene. I mean, like skill wise.
Really? That's awesome.
It's fantastic.
You don't see that much.
So that all kind of combined with later my dad started letting me listen to classic rock and stuff. So that all just kind of took off. So
really? Yeah. That's huge, man. I mean, that's kind of your style, I would say.
Yeah.
If I could describe your style, you're very classic rock. Mm-hmm. And then what else would you say your style embodies? Classic rock and what?
Like I'm not a huge gearhead. It's like my favorite quote about playing music is from Walk the Line. It's like you found your sound because you couldn't play no better. I'm like, man, like I just walk up, plug in my guitar, turn the knobs. I'm like, yeah, that sounds cool. And then let's go. You know, I've developed, you know, you develop some more skill and some more know-how about how gear works and stuff as your professional career goes on. But yeah, for the most part, I would have just as much fun going straight into a Marshall stack as I would with like every pedal, you know, just, I like to play, you know, I try not to get too caught up in, like it has to be this certain
I need
way.
this pedal. I need the tube screamer only. That's only, you know,
well, and every room is different, you know, so.
That's huge. So you do this professionally. Right. So, from my perspective on that, having a style, and this is a signature of a great guitarist is that, I think, and I wonder for you, because you probably, you know, communicate with a lot of other good guitarists in the scene. But, you know, there are guys that have signature styles that could be playing any guitar almost in any setting, and it always sounds like them. Look at a guy like Stevie Ray Vaughan's a great example.
Right, yeah, for sure.
The strings on his guitar are like cables, right? And he could be playing through any amp.
Yeah. And you know it's Stevie.
You know it's Stevie Ray Vaughan. Like his style and it all is in his hands and his picking.
Yeah, that's why I like Boston too. Like within the first 15 seconds of hearing a Boston song, you're like, oh, that's Boston. There's
so many good guitarists out there. And I don't want to jump the gun because I want to know all your favorite guitarists and solos later on. But I want to keep talking about what you're doing now. I've heard this story multiple times, Michael.
Okay.
From Hannah. Hannah, my beautiful wife. Shout out Hannah and Mia. We need to get you guys together at some point. I think you guys get along very well. Mia, also, I was telling Michael, the video that you posted the other day, lifting weights in your garage, was hilarious. We got it. You got to make her go set up like an Instagram account dedicated to stupid
that's
parody workout videos.
It's definitely your in, babe. That's it.
Huge. I was like, why is she not doing this and making money from it? Then when I saw it, that's what I thought.
There's a couple people that thought she was serious. They're like, you're going to end up hurting yourself. Like, no. What? No. Seriously?
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
Are you both work out quite a bit?
Yeah.
You stay in pretty good shape.
She actually just started going to like spin class. So she hasn't been lifting as much with me, but that's the one thing that quarantine has definitely helped me do is get out of because when we're on the road, I'm stuck with hotel gyms, you know. So
are you the only one in that gym when you're on the road?
100%. Yeah.
Go get your ass in the gym.
Koe freaking lucky. He hadn't worked out in. I mean, you know what? I take that back. He has started like during quarantine, kind of.
Really?
He's looking.
Savion said he wanted to come do some SW fitness workouts. Yeah. I think Savion's still waiting, Koe.
But yeah, I mean that dude still like after 4 years of minimal workouts still has like softballs for calves and
Well, he's always been built that way, man. He's always, I tell you, he played football until he was 19 years old, 20 years old. Yeah. And that stuff stays with you for a long time. That strength stays with you for a long time.
I've been working so hard, you know, and like when you're starting from ground zero, it takes like there's a little bit of improvement and then there's a long plateau.
Yeah.
And
it's true.
So I walked on the bus and Koe was like, dude, how long you been working out? Like, so-and-so amount of time. And he was like, why are you still built like a 13-year-old?
Damn.
Bite me.
You're pretty, but I look at you and like, you're a pretty athletic guy. Especially for someone who travels as much, and we'll talk about the road life soon, but who travels
anything that doesn't have to do with hand-eye coordination, I got you.
Yeah, because I just found out one of Michael's eyes doesn't work.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Optic nerve.
I don't even know how you play the guitar.
So that's why I'm good at guitar. Like I tried football in 8th grade and it was terrible.
Really? Yeah, it's dangerous probably, man.
Most of my insecurities come from like that year.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Well, that's so dangerous.
That inner 8th grade C team wide receiver comes out anytime I start feeling insecure.
Well, when you grow up in Texas, it's a big part of your development.
Definitely.
Let's speak to that for a second before we move on. Hold on. The mental games and like the effects that junior high football have on you as a young man are monumental.
Dude, I just found out like a couple weeks ago that the reason, like my dad, or growing up, we didn't really watch professional sports very much. Kind of got into UFC, like a little bit of that.
Love UFC.
But I just found out like a few months ago that my dad was always like, felt like he couldn't judge the sports teams because he wasn't there, you know.
Oh,
It's like,
really?
dude, that's an insecurity from like high school, you know.
Yeah,
like
you
I
gotta-
never would have thought about that as to why he didn't watch it. But that's
Yeah.
interesting.
But it's a deep-seated thing, man. It's
Right,
such
right,
a
yeah,
big
for
part
sure.
of our culture here in Texas, and people who aren't in Texas, because millions of people will hear this, Michael. People who don't live in Texas don't understand how important that is.
No.
Like my path, I became very good at football. But when I was in junior high, when I was in like 7th grade, when I started and played Pee Wee, I was lanky and uncoordinated, and I wasn't catching any footballs. I was slow. I was slow until I was like a sophomore in high school. And I just all of a sudden got fast. That's the way like the male body works when it's developing.
Yeah, yeah.
And you didn't have an eyeball.
Right, yeah.
Effectively.
Yeah.
So it's like, but it's so important, and it's such a high, like the expectation for you to perform on a football field as a 12-year-old kid, it's pretty substantial in Texas. It's the thing that you do as a young man here.
For sure.
But you found music.
It's a rite of passage for sure.
It is definitely a rite of passage. I think it's changing a little bit though, because we're so easy. It's so easy to access information and data and stuff today. So now, like I tell him all the time, I love music. So if our kids want to get into music early on, I'm all for it. If you want to do something, be very good at it, and be very passionate. That's my perspective. If they want to play football, I know a few things.
Couple.
You know, but that's interesting.
I'll send my kids to your house. You send yours if they want to do music. I'll give them guitar lessons. If mine wants to play football. We'll trade out.
That's a good plan. We've got you got a good network of artists. I got a good network of athletes.
I'm down.
We can cross the streams.
That sounds good.
But that's interesting, man. I imagine that's one of the ways you kind of stay. We'll talk about how you stay balanced here in a minute. You go to saying hello to you. But I imagine staying in the gym
We've been friends for a minute.
staying in the gym is one of the ways you kind of stay in tune. Anyways, we got off on a tangent. Hannah tells me all the time how you got into the band.
Yeah.
And she says that a lot of the credit goes to Bailey and Hannah. Is that true? Actually, I don't want to throw any shade on them. How did you get into? And this is one of your fans. Michael asked this question, and this is Jaden_Ward_.
Oh, what's up, Jaden?
Jaden. Hey, he said, how did you get into the band? And that was one of the questions I wanted to ask you. So
He
what's your
actually
story?
just moved to Stephenville. Just started. This is his first year of college. So
Really?
Yeah,
Awesome. At Tarleton State. Let's go, Jaden. Bleed purple.
Bleed purple. But yeah, actually, like me and Mason both played with Clint Levi Band. That was our first band together.
Yep.
And I actually didn't know it until like the end of it, but my first weekend on the road with that band was the beginning of the end. It was like that show set some things in motion that like 2 years later would be the reason why we broke up.
Ooh.
Yeah. Can't really get into that, but yeah, it was intense.
KG.
And I was upset. So
They were pretty popular at the time.
Man, we
Weren't they?
got to do some cool stuff. Played a lot of Tarleton stuff. I mean, it was my first touring band. Like I'd played in a couple bands, like did a couple D-Nows and stuff with my band from like my high school and stuff like that. But as far as like once you're done with work, hopping in a van and driving somewhere in Texas, Oklahoma, or Kansas, that was my first experience with that. So
That's cool, man.
definitely cut my teeth. Actually, my buddy Kevin, I don't know if you've ever met Kevin Harrell. He bet me $50 at a duck camp party.
Duck camp. Shout out duck camp.
It was. I came to Tarleton as a sophomore, so I just kind of like heard like, oh, cool, duck camp party, cool, let's go.
Rage fests.
Yeah, so he bet me $50 that I wouldn't go ask the singer, who was Clint, if I could play guitar after he was done. He's like, well, if you play guitar, come back and we'll try you out. We need a rhythm guitar player. So, Kevin, you owe me $50, and
Pay up, Kevin.
but yeah, so that kind of got all that started, and then towards the end of it, Koe came and opened up for us acoustic in San Angelo at Blaine's Pub, and I can remember he was singing "Somewhere Beautiful" by Sean McConnell, and me and Mason were both like, dude, if for some reason this goes south, let's make the move to Koe.
Yeah. Did he have a guitarist, or when was this? What year? How old was he? I guess. What year was he in college?
Man,
was he still playing football? This is.
You know what? I think he
was still in. This is right before
he was still playing football.
Yeah.
Because it would have been
his sophomore year.
This would have been like 2013, early
or
2013.
end of his freshman year.
Because my first show with him was December of 2013. So it would have been like that year sometime.
Yeah. He didn't have any of this. It was just him and a guitar.
He had a band, but with him it was just guitar.
Gotcha.
So then once we broke up, me and Mason moved immediately. I played with a few different bands. Truck Stop Gamblers are some guys from my hometown. I played with a rock group for a little bit. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Why was that a lot of fun?
Just playing a different kind of music. You know, the guy that was the drummer was kind of the one putting together the band, and he had like these big Liberty spikes. And, it was fun. I mean, he got into it. It was good.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I show up in my boots.
Yeah. Ready to play some red dirt.
Right. Like, oh wait, sweet, I can turn up the distortion.
Yeehaw. Yeah. But that was like going back to your roots, kind of.
A little bit, yeah. Which is why I think it was so much fun, you know. But I started with Koe in December 2013.
Yeah.
Basically, up until that point, I think Mason was the only replacement to his original lineup, and I basically joined that lineup. And then the other guitar player got married for a few different reasons. The other guys just kind of either wanted to go home or.
Talking about Colton? Colton here? Was Colton a guitar player?
Cody.
Cody
Foster.
Gotcha.
So yeah, like we basically joined, except for Mason, I basically joined the original lineup, and then it just slowly started to kind of change as we got older and evolved.
Yeah. But the trifecta has remained.
Yeah, since December 2013, man.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
How about the wild ride from December 2013? It's nuts. Dude. You just signed a record deal. Overlords, we're not going to get into y'all's business. I thought I was going to have to like call your manager and have my people contact your people. I'm just glad we're not there yet.
Hey, when you live as close as we do, and while we're not playing any shows, say, hey, Odis, come hang out.
Very convenient.
Yeah.
And you can help me with my carpentry.
I'm down.
Because you see, I got some
projects. Dude, it looked good.
Thank you, man.
Pretty good.
Thank you. It all started with Pinterest.
As long as the shelves are level and they match up, going all the way across.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that can't even do that.
Man. Yeah. I tell you what, when I didn't know how serious you were about carpentry until you walked into my house and you looked at it. I knew when you were looking at the bookshelf that you were serious about your shit, because you were really, really analyzing it. Not just like, oh, it looks great,
man. It's a curse. Like I walk into any house. And this comes with working for my dad for I mean, I've been going to jobs with him since I was 7 years old. I always look at the trim. It's the first thing I look at. Just because that's the first thing that like aesthetically matters to somebody who's been a trim carpenter.
And it takes time and attention to detail.
Right, yeah, for sure. Yeah, there's a lot of guys that you got a lot of guys that can frame, a lot of guys that can trim. There's very few that can frame and trim, because framers end up like
yeah,
good enough for some caulk and paint. You know?
Yeah, I see these guys all over this place all the time. They'll frame up a house in like 30 minutes.
Right. Yeah, you get a trim carpenter into something like that where you have like quickness and speed. Like you don't have to cut to the 32nd of an inch.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so
spoken like a real pro to the 32nd of an inch.
Go with framing.
Yeah.
So you get a trim carpenter doing that, and it's like goes a little bit slower because he's used to cutting things very, very exact.
Yeah.
Framing, if something's a little short, put a nail in it, hit it with the hammer, and you're good, you know.
That's crazy. And I knew you were real serious about it when you walked in and looked at that shit. I was like, damn, I shouldn't even show him this. Like, he's going to pick out all the flaws. I thought that you were looking at it, and I was like, it looks pretty good. I was like,
you didn't let me go in yet, so
yeah.
We'll see.
I don't know if I'm going to do that. How many people can trim? I don't know if I want to let you in that room, but it looks good from the door, doesn't it?
It does. It looks fantastic. Shit. Did you paint it too?
Hannah and I painted it.
Nice. Okay.
I tell you what, painting now is a pain in the ass.
Yeah, I don't like painting.
I hate it.
I don't like painting.
In hindsight, I wish I'd have just brought someone in to paint the shit for me.
Yeah,
There's probably some kids in the neighborhood that would have done it for cheap.
Right. Hey, here's $50.
Dude, I didn't think of that, though. Why didn't I think of this?
Don't know, man.
I should have been talking to you sooner. You guys were touring at the time. Damn it. Actually, no, you weren't. It was quarantine. You guys were probably making singles or whatever. But how many people can trim and frame and also play lead guitar for a very popular Texas rock band?
I don't know.
Very few.
I don't know. Actually, you know what? I know a lot of guitar players that are carpenters.
Really?
I guess
Things
mostly
go hand in hand?
Yeah, I guess, kind of I actually don't know why that is, but I do know quite a few guitar players who, like, especially like hired guns.
Yeah.
That when they're not touring, that's their main job. They go do carpentry. Yeah.
Hired guns. It's interesting, man. Before we talk about the crazy journey of Koe Wetzel and then your new project, I wasn't going to talk about this, but the lead guitarist is a very unique type of individual.
For sure.
Like, you look at the great lead guitarists throughout history and all these great bands there, especially the relationship between the lead guitarist and the lead singer. It's a very interesting one.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I was watching these videos like yesterday about, these parody videos of lead guitarists versus like the lead singers and them trying to come up with, what do we fill this part of the song with? Solo section? Harmony.
Yeah.
How do you and Koe deal with that? You guys pretty good? You guys just kind of flow off each other? You guys been doing it a long time.
I mean, normally, like when a song's being written, like back before Noise Complaint, we were in a garage. We would just jam like some chord progression, and then Koe would be like, "All right, sweet, I can put some lyrics to this,"
Just find a riff or a chord progression and then go from that.
Yeah, yeah.
Just start with the music.
I mean, kind of both. Especially now that we don't practice. Like, we just tour so much that you kind of get if we're rough on something, you do it before sound check, But now that we don't really practice, mostly it's Koe ends up writing this song and then he sends it and says, "Hey, do something cool with this,"
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Hey, go to town."
For the most part, yeah. I mean, we definitely, like, he produces, like, him and Taylor Kimball co-produce our albums.
Taylor's a killer too, man. That guy makes good music.
Dude,
I haven't met him,
guy's
but
insane.
he knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
Who else does he work with?
Cody West.
Okay.
I've worked with Reed Southall and Austin Mead. Like, I mean, anybody that is a name right now has probably,
that guy's good.
Has or should go work with.
That guy's good.
Kimball.
Hey, Taylor, come produce my podcast. How much? Come on, I'll get you on a podcast. You do it one for free. Yeah, no, that dude's really good. I'll tell you what, Reed Southall, I really like that music.
Yeah.
I made this playlist called Cold Chili. I'm going to share with you. I think you'll like it. And
yeah,
some Reed
actually,
Southall.
his guitar player, Ryan, played the lead on Sunday or Monday.
Did he really?
Yeah.
You guys just grew up and like...
Yeah, it's kind of... Sometimes it's like whoever's in the studio, and it's like...
You guys all in the same studio there in Denton?
Yeah, yeah. Like we got the Studio B at Panhandle House in Denton.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So how was that studio, man? You hear stories of like studios being nuts. And I see videos that Koe posts of like shit he's doing in the studio at like 1 in the morning between his tweets.
So sorry for Kimball, man. You're getting a taste of what we get on the tour bus, man.
Is he like that all the time? This is the thing,
no comment.
Yeah, but this is the thing. Like, I hadn't hung out with Koe consistently since like his sophomore year in college.
He's the same.
I can only fucking imagine what the dude is like now, on tour.
For the most part, he's the same. I mean,
dude's a great time.
Koe's always Koe, man.
Dude's a great time.
Yeah, yeah.
People think I think it's put that.
Dude, I still cannot believe that this photo has. I'll show you the photo in a minute, but there's one photo that I cannot believe hasn't been used on an album cover or something like that. But it was during, I think, Out on Parole. Maybe it was when he was writing Noise Complaint. But he's got like a Smirnoff or something in one hand, a cigarette in the other, and like this red helmet and some orange aviator sunglasses on. Like, you just look at the photo and you just can feel the level of twisted that he is in that moment.
I think people really think that
hilarious.
this is a show. To anyone who thinks that dude is putting on a show, you're wrong. That is him, 100%. That's crazy. I would love to just be on a tour bus on a ride with you guys, like in between shows, just to see what that shit is like. I bet it's ridiculous.
I'm telling everybody right now listening that wants to hang with Koe. I'm gonna give you some great advice. Learn how to say no.
Yeah,
because he will try and get you to go sip for sip with him with the bottle of Jack. Yeah, don't do that. You can't do that.
Yeah.
He's got too much practice. He's too good at it. He's too freaking big.
He's a big boy.
Yeah, he's a big boy. He can put down some liquor.
Yeah, I bet he can. I bet he can. Yeah,
so
I've had
everybody that comes on, they're like, man, yeah, like I can't believe I'm getting a party. It's like good 10 minutes, and then they're like,
good luck,
slobbering and got to carry them off the bus.
Dude, that's funny, man. I think one of the shows I came to you, one of the only times I've like hung out with you guys after a show, since you've really been working and touring a lot, was the show you guys played in New Braunfels at some point. And I was down there for work. I was in the San Antonio office doing, I forget what we were there for. But I came to a show.
I don't remember where that was.
In New Braunfels. I don't know. It's some show in New Braunfels. You guys were staying on, they put you guys in this house on a river.
Oh, yeah. Then we were playing at Conway's, I think.
Conway's, that's it. Conway's.
Yeah.
And I was just passing through, and I stopped for a show and ended up staying after.
Yeah,
And, it was a few firsts for me that night. But I couldn't hang. I was trying to drive back the next day, and I'm like, I had to take like 3 breaks and try to take a nap at gas stations just because I was destroyed.
Oh, yeah.
But no, that's funny. No, I believe that 100%.
Yeah,
Don't try to go drink for drink with that dude.
Learn how to say no.
Different breed.
Yeah, you got to realize your limit and stick to it. That's what I do. Like,
because you like the bourbon.
Yeah, of course.
You like a moderate amount of bourbon.
For sure. I don't like to get above where I feel comfortable.
Well, motor skills for you are very important.
Right.
You have to stay. I feel like, based on my limited experience playing guitar, and singing, that it'd be much easier for me to sing than to play guitar, lead guitar, especially if I'm drunk. It's a very difficult thing. One, your fingers don't want to move like that.
Dude,
anyways.
I know some guys that can play tore up. I am not that guy.
Really?
Have
you ever tried?
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's been a couple times where we'll like take some shots before we get on stage. And,
screw up an intro or something?
Dude, yeah. My fingers do not work when I'm drinking. Like I said, I like to get my feel good zone.
Yep.
Like I'll pretty much just cruise at that,
Yeah. I try to do that too, man.
Honestly, it's because I'm a wuss. I hate hangovers. And now that I'm almost 30, they last 2 days.
Dude, you're almost 30. You're so young. I tell you what, 25 was a big change, though, for me.
Dude.
25 was tough. 25 to 26 was tough.
What's the date today?
It is the 10th?
Ooh.
9th or 10th?
Ooh, I've got a month and 7 days.
Really?
In my 20s.
Oh, dude, that's big time.
Yeah.
That's big time.
Yeah.
You're moving on up. You guys just signed a record deal. Mm-hmm. So going back to, glad I didn't have to call your manager and set this up and deal with some publicist asshole, because I can only imagine what the business of this thing is like. You guys are now 100% exposed to it. Sorry, texting Koe at some point, I was congratulating him on the deal, and said it's very busy. I think in general, the messages we relayed back and forth, I got the feeling that you guys became very busy all of a sudden. And I don't know if that was just producing music or, stuff on the back end. Mm-hmm. But what was that like for you guys before we talk about the flow? Like when you guys just signed a record deal with a huge record label. And what changed? Man, and how quickly did it change?
Honestly, we really haven't felt the full effects of that yet, because we've only had 3 shows since March.
Quarantine's probably
honestly, we've never had a time period off of the road so significant that we could just focus on recording and making an album. So relative to the other ones, this next one's like happening fast.
Really?
Just because we don't have to deal with tour schedules. Yeah, I mean it's studio time. That's it. Yep. And I'm sitting at my house, bored, like texting Koe, like, dude, please send me something so
write your fucking song, Koe.
Right, hurry up, send me something I can write to.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, so that's pretty much how it's been. So I'm sure that January we'll see a little bit more of the effects.
Yeah.
Getting into bigger markets.
Yeah. You guys are about to
playing
get
for
pushed
new
hard.
people. Yeah, yeah.
This new album's going to get pumped. They're going to put a lot of money behind this thing.
Yeah, man.
Do you guys
Columbia's
they got some bread
going on, yeah.
They got some bread. And also you guys, I think, are very well positioned right now in the industry. And I think where society is at right now, alongside the timeliness of the release of this, because roughly, can you even tell me the quarter it's going to release in? Or it's okay if you can't. But it's coming within the next 6 months, probably.
Yes.
Okay?
Yeah,
within the next 6 months,
sure.
probably. Things are going to be changing. There's an election coming.
Yeah.
Quarantine's going to be up.
Yeah.
This COVID situation is going to be, there's maybe going to be a vaccine. People are going to be ready to go. You guys are going to be releasing a new album that you've been able to dedicate your time to. That's probably fire.
Oh, man, there's one, like, there's a lot of new stuff on
huge.
it. Like, so kind of has the same, there's some stuff that has the same kind of vibes of Harold Saw High.
Really?
But there's
and then the country western Sunday Monday.
Yeah, those will both be on
Okay.
on the record. But there's a couple songs that were written. One of them in particular was written before Noise Complaint.
Whoa.
But just the
Long time
verse of it, like Koe had a chord progression and like a first verse, and we would just kind of jam that, and he couldn't really make something work, so it just kind of went on the back burner. So that still has like the old school Koe Wetzel and the Convicts kind of feel that you had with like with Noise Complaint. Because that's the vibes that it was created. Us jamming, for the most part, like the vibes of the song was from those days,
that era,
the garage band days.
Yeah.
So there's a couple songs kind of like that, and then there's some stuff that that's a little bit more explorative. It's definitely
microdosing.
Yeah.
Somebody, if
It's
you look
pretty
at,
sweet, man.
I can't wait because I think I saw a couple of, because Sunday country western Sunday Monday I think were great for a lot of reasons and also very thoughtful in their release and also the context around them, like the I guess single titles or covers being the inverse of each other, the cows and the aliens.
Yeah.
It's huge, but take a little restroom break, a little intermission. It's all good. We're back, taking care of some business. My man, how was the restroom? Did you like my soap dispenser?
Fantastic. Yeah, the Vader head.
Vader.
Yeah, sweet.
We don't play games. But what I was talking about before we had to take a little break was the country western Sunday Monday single releases.
Yeah.
First time you guys have really done pure single releases.
Except for
that,
Austin.
Okay, Austin
a
was
single. Yeah,
that's true.
I think that's the only other one.
That ended up on the Harold Saul album.
Yeah.
I think that's the only one. I think it's the only, Austin was the only other one.
It's the only official one. Like I think maybe before that, Between Two Bottles was like the single that we pushed. Like we've had singles that
was a great song,
but we never released one like a single separately.
Yeah.
Cat loves me.
He does. Yoda. Shout out to Yoda. I hope he's downstairs being pissed off right now because he can't hang out with us. But you'll get to see him later. But I love, like, there's so much thought put into, and this Columbia's doing, or was this you guys in the inverse of the album covers?
I actually don't know. I'm assuming that was Koe's pretty clever with that kind of stuff.
Is he a creative guy?
Yeah.
Surprise, surprise.
Yeah, extremely.
Oh, that's funny.
He's not much for marketing in the sense of like marketing campaigns. Like I was fresh out of college.
Yeah.
It's like, let's do a marketing campaign. We can like focus on our target market. And then like, of course, Koe's like, I'm just going to drop the record tomorrow. Come on, man.
And which record was this? This sounds like a real conversation you guys had.
I believe it was Harold Saw High.
That one came out of nowhere, literally. How did that happen?
Yeah.
How did that happen?
I mean, it's basically like he wanted to just drop a record, which I mean, like it worked.
It did. It was hot.
I don't know how. Like the
Internet
numbers
exploded.
The numbers don't make sense.
Yeah.
But for some reason, I think it's kind of like the whole reason why any of this has happened. Anyways, it was just the right thing at the right time for the right people, and it just kind of resonated.
Well, I think the right people for you guys is such a broad range of humans. I think I let anyone listen, and especially with the newer stuff you guys are doing, and to the and you know, I know there are people probably pushing back on you guys, I guess, saying, hey, you know, you guys are going mainstream. Not really. That's just more weird, right? It's just fucking weirder music than what was previously being made.
Yeah, for sure.
Far from mainstream, in my opinion.
I mean, it's still all us.
Yeah.
I mean, we're doing what we want to do. I mean,
that's what makes it great, though, because
Yeah.
it feels like that.
I mean,
It doesn't
like
feel manufactured.
From the day, like, I can remember having this conversation with Mason and the original drummer, Easy, Cody Edmiston. We were sitting in the driveway of the garage that we used to practice in. We're like, man, we should like start putting some post-hardcore like breakdowns and stuff in. That along with like my classic rock kind of like formed it to what it is.
Yeah.
I totally forgot where I was going with that.
You were talking about, so you're talking about how you guys talked about doing this weirder music.
Yeah. Okay,
a long time ago, and now it's
like,
happening.
It's always kind of been like, we didn't really want to be stuck to a genre.
Yeah.
Like if we wanted to make, it was one of the cool things about Harold Saw High, like Koe was like, I want to do a country song. So we did Too High to Cry.
Yeah.
You want to do a rock song. We did Fuss and Fight. You know, it's just like whatever we want to do, we don't want to be confined.
Yeah.
We just want to make music, you know,
Yeah.
whatever that looks like. So.
And that sounds like your creation process. And this was another question from one of your fans, Michael Odis Parrish. Who was this guy? Your process for writing songs, Jackson Bryant. Jackson Bryant. I don't know how you got that Twitter, that Instagram handle without someone else taking that from you, but it's impressive. He said, "What's your process for writing music?" And we touched on that a little bit earlier. Koe writes a song, sends it to you guys.
Yeah.
Says wear it out. And does he send it to? How does that work? Because I'm thinking like mechanically, he's like, okay, I'm gonna send it to you in an email, whatever. And you're CC'd, Mason CC'd, Dre was, well, the drummer CC'd. Who gets it first?
I mean, usually I think I'm the only one that really like hits him up for stuff. Maybe Mason does too.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's pretty much like, hey dude, I'm bored. Like I want to play something. Like I know you're doing something. Like because he I don't think he like. Well, I don't really know what happens, but I know that I have to bug him.
Magic.
A lot. Yeah. Like, dude, come on. I know you're doing something, and I'm really bored with quarantine right now, so I want to write.
Get off your boat, quit taking selfies, and write a fucking song, Koe. You just say that to him.
Well, I'll text him, or I've texted him one time, and I'm like, he's like, hey, what are you doing? Like, I'm writing. He's like, oh, cool, me too. Sweet. You gonna send that
Ellipses.
over? Come on, let me write some nasty guitar parts today.
Yeah.
So in a band setting, normally, like if we're writing something, like there's been a few songs that kind of happen organically. Like we'll be just jamming something, and then Koe's like, all right, sweet, I can do something with this.
What are some of those organically created songs?
The live version of Honey Pain.
That's one of my favorite songs you guys have ever made.
I had like finished my guitar, like the leads and all of that to that song, and then like towards the end of the deadline, they couldn't figure out exactly how they wanted the drums to go, so it was like, forget it, let's make it acoustic.
Yeah.
So, but the live version, how it kind of swells, and a lot of that was created organically, like in the garage setting. Fuss and Fight, most everything off of, or a lot of the things from Noise Complaint were like that.
Really?
And then once we started touring so heavily, it was pretty much like hit or miss if we could get a sound check practice in.
Gotcha.
And then we'd kind of jam something. But yeah, like this whole last record, Koe just had so much time quarantine that he was like, sweet, here's some songs. So
really?
That's
in awesome.
with him or with Kimball, one of the two, and lay down some stuff. And one of the things that Kimball's really good at is like I'll come in with this part that I think is awesome. He's like, it's cool, but it could be better. And that is one of the most useful. Yeah, he's a drummer.
Really?
And he can play guitar.
You probably play a little bit of everything.
Yeah. He actually wrote Nothing Left to Say.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So him and Koe work extremely well on the producing side of it. Really, really good about. Like I said, like one of the biggest things about producing, I think one of the most important things is knowing what to cut, what not to put in, and what to change. You know, it's not necessarily like dealing with what you have. Like, I mean, you could throw as many things into a song as you want to. Yeah. You know, but at some point it's this isn't very good. Let's cut this out. This could be better. You know.
Yeah. Sounds like you guys have a killer team, man.
Yeah. Like Tyler Thompson is who I do the Odis P stuff with. Who's Chris Colston's drummer, Kings Creek Productions. He's got that as well. Like I took Take Me Home to him, and it basically developed like with his insights. Like he just threw in some stuff that I never would have thought about. You know. Yeah. So producing is definitely underappreciated. I think.
It's an art form. I think it's underappreciated,
especially in the independent world.
This space, yeah. I think it's underappreciated. I think it's not underappreciated though with all these like mumble rappers. Those are just producers making music. Once you
get to the major label position, for the most part, if they're calling the shots creative or on the creative side, then producer is
the artist
calling the shots. Yeah. Period.
You get that feeling from that music. But you guys, I think,
for sure.
You guys, and producing in general, and my limited experience with that, with video making and things, is, you know, it's hard to do that. And the progression of your music over the last, how many albums do we have here? 5 albums. That has been a tremendous improvement. Also, just the creativity and the slight genre shift. It's like you guys have always been a little bit. You guys have always defied categories of country music and rock, but you've just kind of owned this new silo, this new vertical that is Texas rock and roll to an even finer degree. But also the producing has gotten tremendously better. I'm listening to Out on Parole album, and then I listen to Harold Saw High, and it's like night and day.
Dude, that's
Noise Complaint was good too.
Me and Kimball were actually talking about this the other day. Like he listened to Noise Complaint for the first time in a couple years. Yeah. And it's just amazing. Like I can even hear some of my licks that I'm just like not quite. Yeah. Like some of my bends like just weren't quite there.
Right. A little flat,
it's
a little sharp.
Yeah, a little flat most of the time. But it's like
get those fingers stronger, Michael.
Yeah, I mean jumping on a tour bus and doing almost 200 shows a year.
But your hands were super jacked. By the time you guys were done with the tour, you could squeeze the shit out of something.
I definitely am never going to get rid of my calluses. I think if I quit playing guitar today, I'd still have them for 10 years.
You guys traveled you guys worked so hard in the Noise Complaint era, and that's what I want to get into next. And I sent this to you so you could kind of start thinking about it. But it was really, can you define each genre, or not genre, era of your music? Before, we're still talking Koe now, Koe Wetzel, that project. How would you define each era? Is it by album? And what were the big milestones along the way? Was it the album releases, or was it an event? Was it a show? Like if you could put into 4 or 5 sections, how would you do that?
Yeah, I mean, I think the album is a good defining era, but mostly because our first couple albums were pretty far apart. Yeah. So what we did around those albums was pretty much defined. Like the songs we played, the people that were interacting with us because of those songs, that was all because of the work that we had at that point. Yeah, so probably by the album, that's a good way to separate it. Yeah.
And because Out on Parole is like you guys were still in Stephenville. Still kind of doing the small scene, the small club scene. Noise Complaint hit the scene, and it was like, whew. Yeah. What's going on? Is that when you felt the surge, kind of like, hey, there's a real, we've really got some. Was it right after that? It was like a week after? Was it a month after?
Oh, man.
Noise Complaint came out?
Probably a month or two.
When you guys started to see the stream numbers and things?
Well, it wasn't even so much the streams yet. Like we were opening for somebody in I think it was at Cheatham Street. And we were opening, and like when we hit the stage and started, people rushed the stage, like ran up to the front. I'm like, well, that's weird. Like that only happens in Pittsburgh, Texas,
Yeah.
you know, or in Stephenville.
Yeah.
Which even in Stephenville was only like 4 people.
Yeah.
You know? So Bailey, Hannah, and everybody that hung out with Koe.
Yeah, it's true.
My mom. But so once
crazy.
that happened, I remember like calling my uncle. It's like, because he's a pretty big influence in.
You guys were close.
Yeah. He used to play in a band. Like I don't even know the name of the band anymore. But he was like the only member of my family that ever like played in a band. So like we talked a lot about it. So I called him.
It's awesome you had
Dude,
that.
something weird just happened. It's like people rushed the stage, and then when we got done playing as the opening band, half of them left. It's like,
Who was you? Did you forget the name of the band you guys are opening for?
no, I don't remember who.
You
it
did
was.
forget the name. Doesn't matter because that was such a defining moment along the path that didn't matter.
Man,
You forgot.
You know what?
It's
it was
okay.
one of. Yeah, I can't remember.
It's okay, but that's
All those
crazy.
things kind of bleed together. I just remember like that was definitely the first time that I saw somebody run up on the stage. I was like
Yeah,
blown away.
yeah. I remember.
Then, right after that, it was we opened up for Reed Southall Band in Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm.
I believe it was in Stillwater, and sold out show. I remember me and Mason looked up at each other like teary eyed, like what's happening?
That's awesome.
And then the next day, I believe, was the Noise Complaint CD release party at City Limits in Stephenville, and that was sold out, which was nuts.
I bet it was.
The only time I had played for that
Origin
big of a
Point.
crowd at City Limits was when Clint Levi Band opened up for like Josh Abbott or Granger Smith, I think. You know, so seeing all those people out there, and we were headlining.
Yeah,
That was right there automatically. That was dream come true right there.
that's huge, man. I remember seeing the video that you guys cut up from that night, and
Yeah.
and it was because I was there. I mean, I was right with you guys because Koe was my boy, and he started doing the music all the time. I didn't never see him really. I didn't see him much. He was doing that all the time. Bailey, Hannah and I were. I mean, we were dating. Bailey and I were super good friends.
Yeah.
So I'm at every show in Stephenville. Right? We all are. Guys on the team, all the guys that hung out with Koe, and then all the cheerleaders. And it was, but I was in my career trying to get my shit going, and being able to watch that for me, I was super happy for you guys. Like,
Yeah.
finally, here it is. Like these guys are fine because we knew these guys are kick ass.
Yeah.
Like these guys are gonna blow the fuck up when enough people get their eyes on. When these guys can express themselves enough, when there's enough material out there, people can get their hands on easily.
For sure.
And that was like, for me, I was like, okay, that video, I saw that video and saw how many people were there. I'm like, holy shit, here we go. And then I started to see articles being written about Koe Wetzel. So I saw one where like someone's bashing you guys, kind of like, it's like,
That happens a lot.
yeah, it's like, this
Haters
is
gonna
terrible
hate,
for
man.
Texas country music. And like, in 3 years, we're going to blow past the realm of shit you people are even talking about.
Right.
And that's exactly what happened in a lot of
for sure.
cases. But that's crazy. And then, so through that, because Noise Complaint was out for a long time. And how much time passed between Noise Complaint and Harold So High?
And it was like a year and a half, 2 years, something like that.
Really?
It was a long time.
But you guys worked so fucking hard. Like, you guys had a show every other night. Every night, it seemed like.
We hit the road hard.
For Noise Complaint.
Yeah, enough that Red 11 basically told us, like, hey, you guys need to chill out or y'all are going to end up hating each other.
Red 11.
That was our booking agency.
Really?
Yeah.
Did they really?
I
They were.
mean, yeah.
How was that? Did you guys ever, were you guys getting was tension building? You guys were,
I mean,
it was a lot of work. It was a lot of hard work.
In a band, I mean,
Any team.
right. I mean, you know this as well. Like being on a team with a group of people, as many days as you are, there's tension.
Yep.
You're not going to avoid it. There just is.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, we had.
'Cause you guys are
We
different.
had
You guys are
arguments and
different
stuff,
people,
but it's just like if you care about something, you care about somebody. Like, man, those are my boys. You know, so we made it work. You know,
Yeah.
we loved what we were doing. It was so new for all of us. It's still so much of this is still so new.
Yeah.
You know?
It is. You guys are on the precipice
Which
And-
I say that, you know, like everybody says it's an overnight success. I mean, all of us have been doing it for
No.
like 10 years now, you know, but it's still like, I guess everything, with every new level, there's always something different.
Yeah. Yeah.
Your cat's going.
He's going
after
fucking
something.
crazy right now.
Jeez.
But no, you're right. And you know, and it's crazy that people think that, and to people who do think that these guys are an overnight success, you didn't see it. I saw the years. I saw, and you know, and the testament to Koe, and I know this is a difficult thing for him to go through, but he loved football.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't love the program he was in, I don't think, at the time. I think that Coach Fowler, I love him, but I don't think he was so kind to a lot of these young guys who were very impressionable and had other interests. Mm-hmm. Koe was one of those guys, but I know the decision for him to quit was very tough.
Yeah.
And but I think it was the right call. I think he could have even done it sooner. But I know that was a difficult time. I've seen all of that and all the work you guys did. I've been there when you guys opened up for, I think, Whiskey Myers maybe, and you guys walked on the stage and they were like, hey, let me show you how it's done. Or you guys got off the stage and they said something like, let me show you how it's done. And now, look at you guys.
Dude, Whiskey is still on top, man. Those guys.
They're killers. I love that music.
Oh, my gosh, dude.
I love that
honestly,
music.
some of the coolest guys that we've hung out with, too.
Really?
I mean, good old East Texas folk, you know.
There's nothing better than good old East Texas folk.
There's
I know you're not
much.
one of them.
I'm not.
I am.
I'm not.
We're
I will
special.
say, dude, the only difference between good old West Texas folk and East Texas folk is that one is used to trees, one isn't.
That's right. They're the same.
Small town people,
They're the same.
good Southern Texas, small town people.
Sense of community is
yeah, for
different. We always want to help each other succeed.
Yeah.
Very little of that. Kind of, you know, seeing other people, being envious of other people's success and wanting to tear people down. That doesn't happen. And I think that's a Texas thing, kind of. I think that's why. I wonder if that's why Texas country, to an extent, has kind of always been its own thing for a while, and we've always brought these artists up who don't go mainstream, but we're very supportive of them here.
To an extent, yeah. I mean, then on the other hand, you got like if you don't go to the mainstream level from Texas music in the right way, which we're trying really hard to do.
Just doing it right.
You know, I mean, I've seen a lot of people get burned by going to Nashville. Which we didn't go to Nashville, but going mainstream in particular.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that the Texas scene does well, like as in looking for the new guy, bringing up some people that nobody's ever heard of. It's independent. It's great.
Yeah.
But there is a point where the amount of success is like everybody kind of shakes their head at.
Ooh, what do you mean?
An
example.
Like, well, you know, I mean, there's a couple of bands that have gone, like Eli Young Band.
Yeah.
When they went to Nashville, like a couple of their first songs were songs that we already knew.
Yeah.
Those were their first releases in Nashville. Then they kind of released some more poppy type stuff. A lot of Texas fans dropped them.
They dissipated pretty quick.
Yeah. So
Texas carries a lot of weight in a lot of ways.
it does.
We're special people.
Yeah. I mean, and
We're a different breed.
passionate for sure.
We're a different breed. Shout out to Different Breed Podcast. But that's crazy. So, and I want to talk a little bit more about that Nashville thing and y'all's progression from here in a little bit. But okay, Noise Complaint. You guys busted your ass for 2 years, and that's where I think the fundamental growth happened from the outsider's perspective. From my perspective, that's where I was like, okay, these guys are now establishing how they're going to operate at the next level. And it happened over that period between Noise Complaint, Harold Saw High. Harold Saw High dropped, you guys are already fucking hot. When Harold Saw High came out, you guys were hot.
Right.
You guys had a huge following on all of the streaming platforms, I imagine. I mean, today, I mean, every time you guys release an album, at least Harold Saw High, I mean, where did that chart?
Oh man, I don't even
That charted
remember.
at an incredible level.
Pretty high.
I mean, you guys blew up, but I didn't see it pushed. I mean, you guys weren't with a major record label. So like the shady, weird shit behind the scenes goes on. This is where I really saw it because I've been obviously follow you guys very closely.
Yeah,
you guys are my friends. So I was like, wait, why is this immensely popular album not being promoted more heavily? And then it started to a little bit before you guys signed with Columbia. You guys were at Yellow Bush. I don't know who that is.
That's basically our independent.
It's yours, right?
Yeah.
Okay. But you guys started to get some play. So somebody was doing a little bit of negotiating and dealing with Spotify, and the playlist, the people behind the scenes.
Most of that was like we were with Larry Joe Taylor. That Forte Management was our management company for a while, and honestly, the biggest influence or influencer of a lot of that stuff was Jeb.
Really,
he's our manager now. It's Floating Leaf Entertainment.
Really,
that guy's
it's a killer.
That guy's good, man.
Really,
yeah.
So you work with some big people.
Yeah. I mean, Jeb knows everybody. Jeb's
he's one of those guys.
He's a good guy, you know.
Yeah. Been in the scene for a while.
Yeah. He was with Red 11 for a while, and I think they still work pretty closely.
Yeah.
From what I can tell, I'm not really sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, so a lot of that was from actually going from no management company at all to having a management company. You know.
Yeah. You guys did it like the grassroots way.
Yeah.
I think that probably has a lot to do with how sustainable you guys are today. You guys, and honestly, and I know it's not going to happen, you guys could release a bomb and then recover pretty quickly. Your fan base is so loyal. I know it's not going to happen. Your fan base is incredibly loyal. And I think that's because of the way you guys found fame, kind of, where you built a following. You did it the traditional way by just making good music. You didn't focus on just the same way that a good guitarist doesn't focus on their pedals and the other shit. Focus on the playing and the style.
Yeah.
That's where you guys grew your brand.
Yeah, man, it was a lot of like in the early days, like when we get done playing the set, we'd go hang out with people. You know, there's a lot of hey, check this out, and then word of mouth. I mean, that's totally how it grew. Yeah. No major marketing campaign, no major advertisements. It was word of mouth.
Yeah. So all the swell was happening through this noise complaint era. Harold saw High drops. When did you know? Before you signed this record deal, because I want to ask you about the holdout potentially on a record label. When did you know we're fucking big time? All we need to do is pull the trigger and get some funding behind this.
Man,
when did you know? What was the moment? Was it a festival? You guys had your own fucking music festival. Talk about
that. Was it? Like,
was that it?
You know, like we
Panther Island Pavilion.
Some big. Even the one before that in East Texas, that was Koe Wetzel.
That was huge too. Yeah, but that was Kilgore, wasn't it?
I think there was
Kilgore.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
But there was like 8,000 people at that one. And there was like 10 or 11,000 at the Panther Island one. But like we'd played bigger crowds than that. But there was something about hopping on stage that night and looking out and seeing 8,000 to 10,000 people, and knowing that they were here for us.
Ooh.
You know, I mean, that's the only time that I've had butterflies in a long time.
Really?
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Other than when I have a brain fart and I like forget what I'm doing next, I'm like, oh,
like on stage,
right? Yeah.
What's that like? How often? Because you're very smart guy, very analytical guy.
Yeah.
Are you super locked in on stage and you're just going through it? You're just boom, boom, knocking it out, or is it very flowy and
very opposite of structure?
Really,
our stage presence is like, I mean, for the longest time we didn't even have a set list. We kind of had a general framework of like we kind of had like these marker songs.
Yeah.
But everything
kind of like
else
this list of things.
Yeah, right, exactly. It's an outline. It's not a list.
That's awesome.
But as far as like being like the analytical and logical side of me goes, as soon as I start trying to like think on stage, my fingers in my brain are like, oh, wait, I don't know you.
Oh, yeah.
I kind of have to like check out and let muscle memory take over. You know, because I've played these songs 1,000 times. So most of the time, if I start like thinking about it, I have to literally just kind of make myself check out, and then I'll hit the right note.
Yeah.
But if I think about it, then I have to like at the last minute just revert back to what key we're in and like improvise something.
Yeah. Do you really just play a scale?
Most of what we do is improvised anyways. I mean, in a live setting, most of the stuff that like me and Shiloh go back and forth and like just kind of play off of each other, like kind of harmonize and play some different licks.
You guys kind of have that like 2 lead guitar thing,
dude.
Like who else did that very well? Avenged Sevenfold? Not really. Sinister definitely lead.
Whiskey Myers does it.
Whiskey does
dude,
it.
They are the top with that.
Yeah.
I mean, at least in our scene.
Like
for
harmonizing lead guitarists. That's a really cool thing.
Yeah. I think it adds so much because not only from like the dueling solo,
Yeah.
but like having a guy that can do more than just rhythm.
Mm-hmm.
It adds so much. Like I love going into the studio because with Shiloh, he doesn't like going into the studio, but I love having.
Why does he
him
not like
there.
going to the studio?
I'm not really sure.
Shiloh,
but
get in the studio.
There's just some guys that like I love being in the studio.
Yeah.
As much as I love being on stage.
Mm-hmm.
He just really fuels off of the adrenaline in the air. You know, he loves the live show.
Yeah.
But I love having him in the setting, in the studio, because if I'm stuck on something, he'll come up with something that I haven't thought of. You know,
So valuable, man.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
anything.
I mean,
That was music.
Like One and Only off of Harold Saw High.
Yeah.
I was stuck on that, man. Like it was the last song, maybe second to last song that we completed in the studio.
Yeah.
And it was one of the first ones that I received to write to.
Really?
I was just stuck.
What do you mean? Like just couldn't even get started, or
Yeah, I mean anything that I wrote like just didn't sound right. I couldn't really find what I wanted to do with it. So when
he came in
when
and
we're kind of stuck on something, Shiloh just has a completely different set of things that make him the guitar player that he is. You know,
that's so valuable, man.
yeah. I mean, even the way that like a guitar player or two different guitar players can play the same riff,
Yeah.
you know, it'll sound a little different.
Yeah.
You know, so that's one thing, man. Shiloh is the guitar player that I've dreamed of playing with, man. Like he's definitely adds a lot to the Koe Wetzel and the Convicts equation. So
I feel like
I would say honestly that I say that I'm the lead guitar player mostly just because I've been since 2013. I've been the guitar player until we added Flushy.
Yep.
But the whole time, I mean, basically have two lead guitar players. If you ask Shiloh, he would say, "Yeah, I'm a lead guitar player."
Yeah.
So we've got two. Like he trades
That's
off.
what it looks like you guys have two. And Koe Wetzel right now has 2 lead
Yeah, I
guitars.
mean, we
And that's
just
what it looks
kinda-
like on a live show.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot more fun to be able to hop up and just shred and do it in a way that like complements each other. You know?
Yeah. I love that about, this is why we talk about like metal. So my progression in guitar was like, okay, basic classic rock riffs when I'm learning notes.
Yeah.
And then when I started like getting comfortable singing,
Yeah.
girly shit like Spill Canvas, so I could sing to the ladies. Right. And then I got into like R&B, like
Little Jason
acoustic.
Mraz.
Yeah. And then I got into like, okay, let me make this Brian McKnight, play this acoustic Brian McKnight and Casey and JoJo and Mario. That was my thing kind of for a while. And then Texas Blues, I fell in love with it. But in between there, I bought a Schecter Tempest Custom, and I loved metal music.
Nice.
Metal music and Duncan custom pickups and those guys, Sinister Gates, and what is the other guy? Zach something.
Zachy Vengeance.
Zachy Vengeance, I think. Those guys do harmonies that are fucking
Speaking
nuts.
of my favorite solos, like I know we'll get to this a little bit later, but Backcountry is one of the coolest, like melodically. There's just so many aspects to that. Like one thing that I like about them is like it's a piece. There's not just like a solo. There's like movements in there, like back to like in the way that classical music does almost.
Yeah.
So there's like different moods throughout this one solo, you know.
Yeah.
So I love them.
I love it too, man, and that's why I think that works so well for you guys. I love that, the harmonizing, and you guys are only going to get better over time because you guys, based on just the way you talked about Shiloh and this team you guys got in the flow right now, and you guys have this album's done.
Yeah.
For the most part, right?
Yeah.
It's like a video game's done with
90%.
development. It's being touched up right now.
Right.
So it's about to go gold. You guys feels like you're well poised. Like we might, 6 months from now, you guys might be, who knows? Who knows what's going to happen in 6 months to a year? I feel like that's where you guys are at. You're kind of at the you're at the beginning of this. You just made this huge, because you guys signed with Columbia. And how long did you wait? Because I'm sure you guys were approached multiple times by record labels. Because you guys and Parker McCollum had a similar early trajectory. He signed earlier.
Yeah.
But you guys are very unique in your style.
For sure.
Your presence, your kind of public perception, your cussing at balloon festivals, which we'll talk about in a bit. So how did you guys hold out on a lot of offers so that you could retain that? Or tell me about that process.
I mean, yeah, there was a long time that we didn't really go with anybody because we wanted to be who we are. And that's honestly one of the things that I respect the most about Koe as a person as well. Is like, he is what he is. Yeah. You're not getting anything different. You know, I mean, it's honestly one of the reasons why I respect him so much. Like, almost not to a fault, but unapologetically. Yeah. This is who we are, and we're going to do what we want to do, play the music that we want to play, make the music that we want to make. Yeah. So yeah, that took a while for us to get an offer where we could feel comfortable, like we could do that. You know.
How does that work when you're and can you even talk about who else offered you guys? Or who else you started conversations with? You don't have to. It doesn't matter. How many times were you approached though before Columbia deal was done?
Man, I don't know. I know for probably there's a handful of times that like different reps would show up to shows. Yeah. So you could definitely tell that they were trying to scout it out.
Hungry for Koe.
Talked with a few different people, but Columbia finally made an offer that Koe didn't want to refuse. You know? So,
what are the mechanics of those? Because I'm fascinated by it. I mean, a lot of what I do is structured deals, right? In my profession. Yeah. Partnerships, vendor client relationships. I love to get creative with these things. So I'm always curious about the mechanics of a relationship or contract. Yeah. So with you guys, when you talk about it was a great deal, what does that mean? Like, is it a certain amount of creative freedom? Is it less restraint? In what way?
I'll say mostly the fact that like most of the time, if somebody goes mainstream, the label has studio musicians that play on the record. Period. They kind of get to produce. They have a lot of say as what you do and what you don't do, where you play, where you don't play.
Everything.
A lot of say. Which is it's changing a little bit just because of social media, and like there's a lot of people that are doing fine, like making a living without a label. Yeah,
they're having to pivot change their business model a little bit,
especially with like streaming services and stuff like that. Like, you don't make as much money on a record release as you do touring. Yeah, you know, like back in the day, it was you tour to promote an album,
and you make most of your money
where you make the money. Yeah, but now it's reversed. You make an album to promote your tour, basically.
Which I feel like benefits you guys because your live shows are nuts.
Yeah.
If you haven't been to one, do it.
Dude, that's actually a little tense. I remember the first time that I started like, I was like, you know what? I'm going nuts tonight. So I was a statue when I first started playing, man.
Oh, stiff boy.
Yeah, for sure. But get extremely bored watching me play live. So then this one night I was like, you know what? I'm gonna let it all hang out. Yeah. Like, I'm going for it. And then like Mason was like, oh sweet, like let's do this. So he started jumping around with me. And then like a couple shows later, Koe was like, dude, you know, he was still like pretty like cowboy hat wearing, like wanted to do country music. Yeah. And he was like, when's all this headbanging stuff gonna stop? I was like,
never.
Never. It's not.
That's awesome, but that helps steer. That's why it's not like, it's Koe Wetzel, but you can tell that all of you have significant influence in the trajectory of the project. Right?
I mean, honestly, I think that the closest relationship, the closest relation that we have, like, that we can kind of relate to is like Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. Mm-hmm. It's Tom Petty. Like that was his band. He's the head guy. Yep. He writes the songs. The other guys write their parts. Yep. But they all add something to Tom Petty's solo stuff is different from Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers because it's had so many different other people adding stuff to it, you know.
Yeah. And you
Still
guys
embodies Tom Petty because he had final say over a lot of it, you know.
Yeah.
So
he sets the tone, like cultural tone.
For sure.
But that's what you guys have, a great team. And so you guys have this great team. You guys, Columbia gave you this creative freedom.
Yeah.
And was that, you know, you guys get to tour when you want? Is what became more regulated and I guess managed, actively managed?
Number one, we have to get the album done by a certain time.
Okay.
And it has to be a certain amount of days that they have to promote it until it releases. So
Yeah.
I mean, now there's marketing campaigns. You know, I mean, they're fronting the budget
Yeah.
for this.
They're
so
eating it. I wonder how much. Do you guys know how much money they're spending on the marketing? Did they tell you that?
Yeah.
Oh,
well,
shit.
yeah. I mean, that's all.
Sure,
that's
part
all,
of the deal,
that's
right?
all budgeted. Yeah, exactly.
Because you get that they're bringing that to the table, like, hey, we'll give you this much. This
Exactly.
record label is going to
Exactly.
give you this much.
And
to
there's
promote your
some
album.
parts that's like from record to record, like if we like what you're doing, then we'll give you another one. If we like what you're doing after that, we'll give you another one, up to so many records, you know. But yeah, like the biggest change that I've seen, one is having deadlines,
Yeah.
and two, seeing the marketing side of it, because since they're putting money into it, they are trying to get money back out of it. You know,
Yeah.
that's the whole kind of thing. Is like, they're trying to get in on what we're doing. Is basically how they said, like, well, we don't want to change anything. We want to get in with what y'all are doing.
Yeah.
So, which is why we ended up going with them, because it was like we felt like we could be us. You know?
Yeah. You guys are very unique.
Yeah.
And I wonder if there are going to be some record labels out there, non-Columbia record labels, who are like, damn, we brought the wrong offer to the table.
Probably.
Think that's going to happen?
Probably.
People within the last, year, 2 years?
Yeah. Yeah.
That brought something to you that was like, hey, we're going to do this, and this is what you're going to have to do, and this is what's going to be different. You're like, see ya, motherfuckers. Right. And then Columbia comes in after your Koe Wetzel music festivals.
Yeah.
And it's like, guys, we just want to be a part of the show. We want to help you blow this thing up.
I'm still waiting on a big enough insurance policy that somebody can like set me on fire on stage. I think that'd be dope.
That would be nuts.
Yeah.
But it's crazy, man. So what if okay, hypothetically, because we have other things that we need to hit on. If the album comes out and it fucking explodes, like it's playing on
Top 40
every radio station, it's playing, I mean, you guys are doing interviews on every mainstream news outlet. What happens then with Columbia? Do you guys have kickers and incentives based on different thresholds of success or streams or sales?
Mostly for the first couple of works, like as in albums. I think all of that's pretty tentative.
Okay.
Very open.
Yeah.
Which is kind of, honestly, it's one of the reasons why we like.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Why Koe specifically likes this deal is that there's not a ton of this is what it is, period.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot to be determined.
Yeah.
So,
and the touring, do you guys have any idea? One, because you guys started to play really big shows before all this. You guys had like some Las Vegas shows or playing some casinos.
Yeah, playing the NFR. Jeb's a beast, man.
But what's changing now? I mean, do you guys have anything that's maybe unannounced? It's gonna be like huge,
Man, honestly,
or is it contingent to how the album does?
It's not even that. It's just that everything has been shut down.
Right.
With quarantine. I mean, we don't know. I mean, we're hoping that. I mean, it's looking like right now, like if everything kind of goes back to normal by the end of this year, that 2021 will basically just resume
right
where we left off.
I think that's what's gonna happen.
So yeah, I really don't. I know we're doing some more Koe Wetzel's incredible music festivals.
I need to come to one of those. Damn it,
dude. Yeah,
I didn't make the last
you
one.
got to, man.
I think I was out of town or something. But I can't imagine. I saw pictures and videos, and I'm like, it was like another one of those moments I had when I saw that first City Limits, like the album release. I was like, holy shit. Look at these guys.
Did you see? I don't know if anybody caught this on video, but me and Shiloh both jumped.
I saw you. I did because you posted it.
Shiloh turned around, like jumped to where like if he landed, he would land on his back.
You sent it.
Oh yeah, I did a swan dive, man. And this is my formal apology to the girl that I speared.
Ooh.
Yeah, they caught me like 4 inches off the ground, but this poor girl like was looking down at her phone and just. Smack.
Ooh, was it like forehead to face?
Pretty much. Ooh. It hurt. This guy walked up to me. He's like, "Hey, that was awesome." He's like, "I just wanted to let you know that you like tackled my sister." And I was like, "Dude, I'm so sorry." He's like, "She deserved it."
Hey, at least your fans are awesome, and you didn't catch a lawsuit.
For sure. Well, and they caught me too. So like they like kind of threw me back up. Got to crowd surf a little bit. There's one guy like right up front in the picture that's like trying to do like the dirty dancing move. Yeah. I cleared him by like 6 feet.
You've been working out, right? Ask him.
Yeah,
Michael's in the gym. Cole, you need to get your ass in that gym. But it's crazy, man, because it's, you know, I remember when you were not very mobile on stage.
Oh yeah.
But the last show I went to, you know, unfortunately I haven't been to a show in a long time. But you guys haven't had a show in a while. I mean, you have had some recently.
It's been 6 months. We've had 3 shows in 6 months.
How were those 3 shows? What was like your first show back? Was it awesome?
Dude,
I bet you guys blew
like
the fucking doors off that thing.
A year or 2 ago, I broke my hand, and I had to play. We did an East Coast run, so playing New York City for the first time. I had to play in a freaking cast. Ooh. It was terrible, but like I remember when I finally got that cast off. Yeah. And we played, it was like falling in love. And that's basically how it's been. It's like, man, like once we get up there, plug everything in, you hear the crowd. Yeah. The intro music starts. It's like, oh, it's on. It's on, you know. That's and it's awesome. There's so much pin up, you know, because normally like you kind of have 2 weeks, like spread that out a little bit. Like your first one hits really hard and then you slowly get exhausted. You know? Yep. But yeah, we've had so much free time and so much more new music that it's like, man, we can't wait. I mean, I always can't wait, but now it's like even more.
That's crazy, man. And it's funny, Michael, I was watching this video. I was Googling to see if I could make an intro song. Yeah. Your solos live. So I was like, Michael Odis Parrish solo live. I didn't find anything I would like to use. There's some stuff on there. But I found this video of these 3 guys. I think they do this like show. I didn't watch any of the other videos. And this guy was talking about Michael Odis Parrish and meeting you one time before a show. Yeah. And he was like, you know, very unassuming guy. I didn't know him. He said, oh, yeah, I play with Koe Wetzel. You know, kind of very humble about it. Didn't say I'm the guitarist. I don't think he gave him any context really. Yeah, it was kind of. And then you went on the fade and on stage and shredded their faces off. That's what he said. And then I think this guy was like blown away by your kind of your tact and your poise and your character. Because it's easy to, and this is another question for you. It's like, how do you stay balanced? Because you are becoming a rock star, and in a year from now, it could be, you guys could be at a level that you can't even fathom yet. Right. But what is that like this fame that you're starting to obtain relative to you not seeming like a guy that really seeks that out? Mm-hmm. How is that dynamic?
Man, honestly, it kind of ties back into the first question that you said that Koe had. Like, how do you stay grounded? I mean, that kind of ties in. I stay plugged into a church. Stay grounded with some accountability partners. I've got a life group on the road that I started on Facebook. It's just a bunch of musicians and people that drivers and stuff like that can kind of talk about real stuff. So on that side of it, it's like I was plugged in at Timber Ridge Church in Stephenville. I'm plugged in at Freedom Church in Carrollton now, so that helps keep me grounded a lot. And it helps. Like I'm not doing this for the fame. Like my whole reason why I want to play music is because I want to glorify God. And not necessarily in a praise and worship manner. Like I think that's important too. But there's so many people in these places that I get to go to that the church won't ever reach.
Yep.
And not necessarily like in the evangelist, like shove my beliefs down your throat, but like there's a lot of hurting people, you know?
Yeah.
So if they can just get a feeling for the freedom that I have, then that's what I want. I want to help them out with that, you know?
That's powerful.
So a lot of maintaining the fame is that I'm doing this to further the kingdom, you know? So I want to play music for people that the church doesn't reach. Yeah. And being in
the rowdiest band.
I used to actually have a hard time with it, like thinking like, oh man, being here, am I like ruining my witness or whatever? And then I heard a sermon that was like basically the smallest light shines brightest in the dark. And I was like, dude, that's it. And I've slowly seen God kind of set up this dark backdrop for the little, like we talked about earlier, the 8th grade, 14-year-old, small wide receiver guy, like humble, like quiet. I'm not crazy, not super talkative. Yeah. So it was like, here's this little quiet light over on the side. But somehow, like I would have people that I'd never met in my life walk up and say, dude, hey, you're an inspiration. Your faith inspires me. Like, that's why I do it.
That's awesome, man.
You know, so
especially when you take that, because you know when you think about it, like the most important thing in the world for people who are passionate about something who want to be successful is their motivators.
Yeah.
That is an incredibly powerful motivation. And then when you guys get to that next level, because you think about each stage in this, you talked about the different eras of Koe Wetzel, and then we'll talk about Odis P in a minute. But each era is a massive growth. It's massively bigger than the previous one.
Yeah.
And if that trajectory continues, no different than you would project a business, forecast, then the next album is going to be. I mean, who knows? Who knows how big that one could be? And so the people you can touch then, I mean, it multiplies tenfold.
Yeah, I mean, cause honestly, when we were writing or when we were making like Out on Parole and Noise Complaint, we didn't know if it was going to go anywhere.
Yeah,
you know, honestly, I think all of us in the back of our minds were like, dude, how long can we do this?
Really? Up until when?
I mean, I don't know. I think it's just kind of on the back of every up and comer that's like trying to make it. They're cutting their teeth. They're paying your dues. It's like, man, like especially if you're somebody who wants a family.
Yeah.
Like, I can't not have a good paying job until I'm 40 years old.
Yeah.
If I'm going to be a provider, how long can I do this?
Yeah.
And that was a struggle for me, mostly just because I knew I did want to be a father. I know I did. I do. I wanted to be a good husband. I don't want to be the non-existent husband or father. So yeah, that definitely played a big impact. And I think that's kind of been. I think that kind of is in the back of every up and coming musician's like, where do I draw the line? And then, actually, Koe told me that he prayed one time. He's like, God, if we're supposed to do this, let it happen.
Yeah.
So, you know, I said earlier that we were lucky. I take that back. We're not lucky. We are extremely blessed. Because I'll be the first to tell you, like, we're not the greatest musicians. I can walk down Austin, the 6th Street and hear musicians that are 10 times better than me. We're blessed. For some reason, we hit a note that resonated with people. You know, so I don't pretend to be the best guitar player in the world. I just play what I like to play, you know?
Yeah.
So.
Well, that best, and this is the beautiful thing about music, and it's unique. Music in this way is so unique, and it only really exists within entertainment, especially music. It's very easy to tell. When a bad movie's bad, it's hard to watch. It's hard to watch. And people's opinion on good music is one of the most subjective things
for sure
possible, right? So becoming successful in music is also, relative to other, I guess, avenues, incredibly, there's a very low chance of success. It's very high risk.
Yeah, for sure.
And there's so many variables that affect what will make you successful and the timing and the attitude, and you know, you don't have to be the best, but you guys have a great team. You guys have a very unique sound.
Yeah.
And you guys work really fucking hard.
Yeah.
Those three things in any industry are very powerful.
Man, I think we released Noise Complaint like around the time that folk was being pushed really hard in the Texas music scene. Which, I mean, not to say anything, but some of my favorite Texas music artists are a little folky.
Yeah.
But it was like, man.
For someone who doesn't know, like, what's a folky artist?
Well, I would say like Shane Smith and the Saints, they have a lot of folk influences. Yeah. Flatland Cavalry has a lot of folk Americana influences. When I think folk music, I think like Shovels and Rope. I don't know if you've heard of them or all. Or like Mumford and Sons would be. Yeah. They're pretty folky. You know, so it was kind of like a lot of acoustic guitar, a lot of banjo, a lot of fiddle. Yeah. I mean, that's
every genre was feeling that, I think, at the time.
Grassroots, right? Even pop was feeling that. Yeah. So it was like, man, what can we do to like not be the same? What can we do to not be white noise in the folk stuff that's coming out right now?
Yeah.
It's like, well, I'm a metalhead. Koe's favorite. Oh my gosh! Like I remember Koe arguing with our old drummer about whether or not Kurt Cobain was the greatest guitar player that ever lived.
What? Why? What was his justification for that?
Nothing. Probably way too much vodka.
Jack. Yeah. Oh, Jack boy.
So yeah, I mean, it was a lot of that. Like, so we got the grunge side from Koe, the post-hardcore stuff from all of us growing up and going through high school in like 2000 or the mid to late 2000s.
Yep.
Taking Back Sunday, My Chemical Romance.
Great music.
Red
Lord have mercy. Yeah.
Yeah. So like, yeah, I mean, all that kind of combined with like grunge, post-hardcore, classic rock, and country. We're like, all right, let's do it. Let's throw in some post-hardcore breakdowns, some classic rock solos, and I mean, you can't get the country out of it. Just even if we played straight up rock and roll, which some of our songs are. Yeah, you know, Koe's from East Texas. You can't get that out of it.
Yeah, you can hear it. Yeah, can't take that out of that boy.
I mean, it's like Leonard Skinner. Like, their genre wasn't Southern except the guy's voice, basically. You know.
So. No, you're right. That's exactly right. And because of that, they touched so many people. Right, and as I started to see you guys come up, I knew, I was like, you guys are going to, there's so many, you guys came up through the channel of Texas country, but that, in my opinion, and I think a lot of people's opinion, lasted a very short period of time.
Yeah.
Very quickly, I think Noise Complaint is what really did it. Noise Complaint comes out, kind of a few months after that album's out, people are like, this shit is not Texas country.
Yeah, exactly.
This shit is not Texas country. Right. Let's create a term for it. And I always use, you know, trying to promote you guys. And then it was funny. Like, I started having conversations with people. And I'm like, yeah, you know, Koe Wetzel and the Convicts, or Koe Wetzel and these guys, like, you know, yeah, they played in our wedding. Well, Koe did our wedding. Like, what? I'm like, I remember when no one knew who you motherfuckers were. and I had to, like, show them the Spotify, like, send them the link to a Spotify song.
Oh, yeah.
But it's crazy, man. So through all this craziness, being on the precipice of a fucking explosion of growth and I don't know, exposure, because you guys are already, I mean, trending at an insane level. You have been able to, you know, you've married your wife, Mia, who seems like an awesome person. Going back to that video, please go follow Mia. And watch, I think it's on her Instagram, and watch that workout video. And Mia, please I
posted it, but I'll get her to repost it.
Yeah, and please, Mia, please make a Instagram profile just for that.
Yeah.
I will subscribe. So many people will love that. But you have this, you know, wife that you love. It seems like you have this great relationship that you're able to nurture and give time to.
Yeah.
Even outside of COVID, and I follow you closely because you're an interesting guy. And it seems like you've been able to kind of go along the same path. Almost. I mean, I've been very busy too, but I'm not traveling on the road every day.
Right.
But you're doing that. You got a house. You're moving to a home. You're doing this family thing. You're getting into carpentry. How are you able to do all of that? Do you have time to do it? How was that when you were traveling on the road all the time?
Well, I mean, I didn't really have much time for the carpentry on the when we were touring so much.
Yeah.
I remember like I had
quarantine
to
day.
have that conversation with my dad, and he was like right about the time that that he's getting to the point where he's like trusting me to go to a job by myself.
Right, you're working for him.
And then it was right about that time that we released Noise Complaint and did the sold out shows.
Yeah.
And I remember telling him about the shows, and he's like, "Dude, I just got you trained. You're about to quit, aren't you?"
Sorry, Dad.
So sorry. But I mean, I remember after that, like I didn't get to go work with him for a while, and I woke up. I couldn't wait. I couldn't wait to not have to swing a hammer for a living. Couldn't wait. I woke up one day. I was like, man, I miss the smell of sawdust. So I called him up, like go do a few jobs with him, and then when quarantine hit, I got to go like a full week and go back on the job and trim a huge house. It was awesome.
Nice.
But now, like, I've kind of been filling up my time. Like, everybody in my neighborhood has the exact same fireplace. So I made a mantle that, like, basically just slides over that. So you don't have to, like, do any demo or anything like that. So
that's really cool.
And that's, like, basically the same process of like, when I went and trimmed a house for my dad, when we did, like, beams.
Yeah.
We would, like, miter the long edges to 45 degrees so that it would come together and look like a solid beam,
Yeah.
So I mean, I was used to doing that on like 4 levels of scaffolding. So now, and like
I don't like heights. That sounds horrifying.
Long, it was fantastic.
Horrifying.
If anybody from OSHA is listening, like stop now. But
he had a harness on for sure.
Dude, I remember being on like 3 levels of scaffolding and a 10-foot ladder on the top rung, like holding my gun, my blocks, and the beam.
No
like,
way.
Nailing that up. Yeah, it was a blast.
No way, Michael.
Oh,
you saw the fireplace on there? The 24-foot ceilings?
Yeah.
I was horrified. I've mentioned this in like 3 or 4 other episodes. I'm on a 24-foot extension ladder, and I'm 230 pounds-ish, and I've got a nail gun, and I was moving so slowly. I was like, Hannah, and I say this all the time, the ladder is older than me.
Yeah.
The rubber on the feet of the ladder was like hard plastic at this point. You know what I mean?
You're right.
So I'm like, Hannah, please, tile ceramic, Hannah, please hold the ladder down.
Yeah.
And I
it's
just
important.
move very slow. I can't imagine 3 levels of scaffolding and a 10-foot ladder.
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah. So, I mean, doing that in my garage with a 6-foot board.
Yeah.
And like modeling all the edges, gluing it, doing the nice hidden trim screws. That's a piece of cake.
Yeah. It's like easy work.
Yeah, yeah.
Put your mind at ease.
It's honestly, I love doing it. I like getting out of my garage and working with my hands. You know, so
that's awesome, man. I feel like it helps you stay grounded too. I mean, you guys, you could get to a certain point and you'll need some anchor to reality
for sure. Man, honestly, I mean that's Mia. Man, she keeps me grounded for sure.
Yeah,
yeah.
How is she? How does she handle? Because I'm sure you deal with. It's fun to ask Bailey how she deals with this kind of shit. But how does she deal with? Because I'm sure you get approached and you get unsolicited messages and things and different social medias and, people say things in live shows. I'm sure she comes as many as she can. How does she deal with that? Is she even worried about that? Because it seems like you guys have such a strong relationship, it doesn't even matter.
I mean, it definitely has a lot to do with the amount of trust that we have in our relationship.
Yeah.
But it also has a lot to do with how much attention that I don't pay to all those things. Yeah. Like I remember reading an interview. I can't remember who it is. Somebody with the San Antonio Spurs, like, won't take pictures with girls. Won't basically like blows them off. And he was being interviewed, and they're like, "Doesn't that come off rude? Aren't you worried about that?" And he was like, "Look, it's like, I'm more worried about the way that my wife and I interact than whether or not I'm rude to someone."
Ooh, yeah, you got a good one.
My wife is way more important to me than even like taking the risk of being tempted. I don't want to be tempted, so I'm not going to even worry about it. But she respects like take a picture,
right?
But I just know how lucky I had to wait way too long to find a girl like that, and she's the girl of my dreams, the girl I prayed for since I was like 7 years old. So
this is like a notebook.
I mean,
This is like a notebook story.
I mean, why in the world would I throw this away when it doesn't get any better than Mia? I mean, that's
It's a Nicholas
that's
Sparks
it.
novel. Is that that guy's name? Mia, you got a good one.
Yeah.
This guy, and I'll tell you, I feel like so many people, and it's so awesome that you can forego any potential additional fame or success or branding, right? Because the lead guitar label has been used in different ways. A lot of times it's the cerebral guy in the band. It's, kind of analytical, kind of what you are in Koe Wetzel.
Yeah.
And Shiloh, I don't know Shiloh. I'm sure he's kind of similar, but there's also the raging machine that, has the perception of like, can get any girl he wants. You could absolutely do that if you wanted.
I mean, that's why people start playing guitar. It's like,
Yeah.
again, the 8th grade C team wide receiver was not getting any chicks. So, like, I got to do something. But even that didn't work until like way down the road.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, that's awesome, man. And that's going to be, I think, tremendously helpful for you. I tell people all the time, having a partner when you're so dedicated to what you're doing, and you're so passionate and you're ambitious and you're trying to constantly move forward, having a partner that supports you, that you can, women are a huge distraction. One. Okay. So, and I remember from many moons ago, right? You can spend a lot of time and energy, waste a lot of time and energy on that lifestyle. And having a partner that supports you and helps you get better
For sure.
is so valuable. And there's really no way to define that. And for someone who doesn't get to experience that or doesn't have that yet, like, it's super special.
Yeah.
And it seems like that's what Mia is for you. She seems also like she could beat a bitch up if she needed to. She's got that look.
Yeah.
She does.
That may or may not be the reason why I'm wearing long sleeves right now.
Ooh, did you guys have a little wrestling match?
Yeah. She. I taught her how to punch. Very, very bad mistake on my part.
Yeah, stop beating Michael up. He just started getting in the
listen
gym.
to the guy.
Yeah,
Exactly.
he needs his hands. How'd you break your hand? Also, you told me you break your hand.
Oh,
How'd you do
that
it?
was a bad night. My amp.
Jack Daniels.
No. Oh, well, I mean,
Maybe a little bit.
probably had a few drinks.
Maybe a
but,
little bit.
So my amp quit working on stage, and so I'm freaking out trying to find what shorted out, where the signal stopped.
Yeah.
And
Did you punch it?
no, well, I did like kick my amp, so like my case is still bent to this day. But I get off stage and had a few words with Koe. He's like, "Do you need to get it together?" I was like, "Yeah, but you quit screaming at me on stage."
Yeah.
and
Because your amp wasn't working.
we shook hands, like, made up, and he's like, "You good?" I was like, "No." Walked over and punched a wall. The entire green room was made out of the thin 1/4 inch like wainscoting. I picked the solid soundproofed 3/4 inch plywood wall.
Ooh.
And I felt my knuckle just cave.
Oof.
So
That's a different kind of pain, man. Break a knuckle like that.
yeah, not my brightest moment.
Also,
for
punching
sure.
walls is a bad idea, just in general. Yeah, I've never really
Yeah, it
seen
is.
that work for anyone in the way I think they intended.
If you break the wall, which is the best thing that can happen
Yeah.
for your hand,
Yep.
then you got to pay. If you
Yeah.
don't break the wall, you break your hand,
Yep.
you got to pay.
Either way, someone is taking care of your shit. Something that you
right.
broke, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So that's an important thing. So if you could give any advice to anyone, it would be not to punch walls.
Don't
probably.
punch walls. And then if you think it's broken, go to the doctor, because I waited until the next day. Like, I was like, I didn't know if it was broken.
Yeah.
So then I get on stage the next day to do sound check. As I'm strumming, I can feel the bone like moving as I strum.
That's weird, man. Breaking a bone. A lot of people haven't broken bones. I think it's a good thing. I think you should at least do it once.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
Just so you know, if it happens again, I need to go get checked
Yeah,
out.
right. Yeah.
But that's funny, man. Punched a wall. Anyways,
Yeah, man.
I had to know.
I had to figure out how to. It's so hard to play. I mean, if it would have been my left hand, I wouldn't have been able to play. But it was my pick hand.
So you know palm muting.
Exactly. The first time, and I kind of like
Cast muting.
it doesn't mute. So I basically had to figure out how to just kind of like fake palm mute with my other hand. But the first show that I did with the cast, I like panicked. So I like I can't palm mute. I don't know how to palm mute. So while I'm focusing on these, I'm not hitting the right chords. It was terrible. But I tried tape. I taped a sock on my cast. I taped styrofoam to my cast.
What about like a latex glove? Did you try that?
I tried that too. Like nothing palm mutes like a hand, like a real hand.
It's so integral to playing the guitar, and for people who don't play the guitar, it's such a beautiful thing because the guitar is a relatively simple instrument, but the beautiful noise that it can make is unbelievable. And the palm muting and taking that out of the equation, especially playing electric guitar, playing rock guitar, like that's. I mean, you're doing that,
Anything
and almost
rhythm-wise,
almost every note that you're playing has some sort of. I mean, 50% of the notes that you're playing need to be muted.
Yeah, I
or you
mean,
need to do something
even in
with
like
your
that's
palm.
one of the ways that you really kind of bring out like different tones
Right.
In a solo. Even like a lead guitar player, like you palm mute a lot of even solos. There's a lot of palm muted notes, but
And you probably didn't have all the
it's important.
articulation, so like pinch harmonics were probably pretty difficult.
no, I couldn't do pinch harmonics. I did figure out that if I turned my guitar like to where it was like straight in front of me, because I didn't have any wrist motion.
Yeah,
So it was like all forearm strumming.
yeah.
But I realized if I turned my guitar like to where it was like going in front
Pointing
of
the
me,
eyes.
I could still rotate side to side with my forearm, so I could get somewhat of a copied wrist action with strumming.
Did it make you a better guitarist, do you think, having to learn how to get
It
around
definitely made me re-fall in love with guitar once I could palm mute and do normal things. Like,
That's
yeah,
nuts.
this is definitely what I want to do.
That's crazy, man. I can't believe you. How many shows did you play like that? How long did you play shows like that?
Like a couple months.
Ooh.
Yeah,
That's tough.
It was rough.
Speaking of guitar, since we're on the subject, before we talk about Odis P, because I want to definitely spend a little time on that. Who are your favorite guitarists? We talked about your inspiration,
Okay.
but who are you like? And this is like kind of your favorite, but also like in your opinion, the top 3 to 5.
Say one Randy Rhoads. He was only 20 something when he was killed.
Yep.
But everybody knows his name.
Yep.
He basically added a new style of guitars, like the neoclassical metal style was something that he basically coined.
Yeah.
So yeah, Randy Rhoads is definitely in the top 3. Then on the other side of that, Slash, I would say
Slash.
isn't the most technical.
His feel is crazy though.
It's another one of those things, like when you hear a guitar part, you know it's Slash.
Yep.
So like his, not only like the way he has his own tone, his own style of playing, but he embodies that very well, like with his persona, you know.
Yeah.
So you get the whole vibe with Slash, you know.
Yeah.
That's something I like too. That's something I think a lot of guitar players don't do well enough, is like embodying their style.
Yeah. A lot of people are just fast, but being fast with feel is tough.
Right, yeah. I mean, that's one of the
style.
biggest things is, being able to say a lot with fewer notes. You know,
Yeah,
I
you're
think
exactly
that's
right.
way more
That's
difficult.
huge.
It's just like you should be able to tell how a drummer, like some of the best drummers don't show off at all. They stay right in the pocket
Yeah.
because they don't have to show off.
Yep.
They know they're good. They don't have to show off.
I like that.
It's kind of
man.
like with guitar players too.
Like an Albert King, right?
If you're over there doing all this kind of stuff, like overpowering everybody else in the band, like, okay, cool, you can shred, but what else can you do? Like, you can't work with anybody.
Yeah, that's true. That's a different dynamic. I'm gonna consider that.
Yeah.
Who's your third?
Man,
Buckethead.
I like Buckethead. I do.
That's weird shit. If you don't know what Buckethead is, check that out.
Man, I don't know. I mean, those are definitely my top 2. I'm trying to think. I like Jimmy Page a lot just because he's extremely sloppy and dirty. I love it.
Yeah.
Billy Gibbons.
Billy Gibbons is a beast. I love
yeah.
Billy Gibbons.
Yeah.
Great incorporation of like blues into rock music.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And so, is that your third? You think Billy Gibbons?
Yeah, probably.
Third's interchangeable. Sounds like between a few people.
Yeah, I mean, definitely my top two.
Yeah.
Are Randy and
Slash
for sure.
Dude, I'm curious to know what your take is on this. In my opinion, Stevie Ray Vaughan is, if not the best of all time, because it's subjective. He's like one of my top two, because you could also say like a Jimmy, because of the way he redefined rock guitar and started to use different effects and things. Like he created the modern era of rock guitar. For sure. Arguably or inarguably. Right. And
depends on who you ask.
And then like a Dimebag Darrell type guy who kind of help people who create and move the ball forward, right? Yeah. Within guitar playing. But Stevie Ray Vaughan, like if you listen to Tin Pan Alley, the same way I think that like an Avenged Sevenfold solo is like its own classical set.
Yeah.
Stevie Ray Vaughan, like his Little Wing interpretation or iteration, the Tin Pan Alley, like those songs are unbelievable.
Yeah.
And if I could go back in time, dude, and watch one guitarist play something live, it would be Stevie Ray Vaughan.
Yeah.
I'd love to see that dude sit down on stage, band goes away, sit down at the end of the stage and play Lenny. Like I would pay an ungodly amount of money to do that.
Yeah.
Who would be the one person you go back and see? Randy?
Yeah, probably Randy. Yeah. I mean, that's probably the guy.
Yeah. Well, they all need to go listen to some Randy Rhoads / and Welcome to the Jungle is one of the best pieces of music, I think. I would love to hear the story on how that was written. It's pretty cool. Like it all talks about that in his autobiography. So. Oh, did you read that? Yeah, I did. Oh, I need to check that out. I love learning about what like fuels guitars. This is why one of the reasons I was so excited about this. Yeah. Like, how does your brain work? What gets you going? For sure. But beyond that, what I'm fascinated by, you've already kind of touched on it, like what kind of equipment you like to use and what setup you like to use. Because I'm gonna get your pedal board. What are mainstays of your setup? What type of, from all the way from like the strings you like to use, the weight? Hold on, let me come back to this. I've got to pee again. Oh, you gotta go. You gotta go. Yeah. My man's gotta go. Coffee and water, dude. And a little whiskey. Yeah. Woo! I'm done. Yo, what do you think, Bo? Hey, be quick. I'm turning in my grandma. Jeez. Yeah, you got a little bladder, man. But I did give you a lot of coffee. You're the man. Ooh. Favorite guitarists and brands. On the crime side, the New York Times side. How you doing, man? You feel better? He's alive. That headset on, man. I'm gonna do a little jamming out. I grew up on the crime side, the New York Times side. I love messing with this kind of shit. Okay, boom, back at it. Ladies and gentlemen, Michael had to take another restroom break because your boy got him a huge Americano. Yeah, and, where is this from, actually? This is fantastic. It's from Tam's Cafe in Salina, Texas. Nice. Ladies and gentlemen. That's good stuff. If you've never been to Salina, Texas, go there, come here, and then go to Tam's Cafe. Bubble tea, the sandwiches are unbelievable. I had a croissant this morning that changed my life, I think. I think it changed my life. Nice. Just saying. But we're back. I was asking you about your setup. Yeah. Before we talk about the music festivals and Odis P, I want to know, perfect scenario, maybe it's a couple guitars, and your pedal board and your stack, what do you run with?
I mean, totally from a romantic standpoint. When I was 14 years old, I mean, I wanted the Gibson Les Paul and the Marshall stack.
Ooh.
You know, so I finally have that, and we've since moved to Kemper's on stage just from the there's no stage volume.
Yeah.
It's so much easier to mix. But I'm about to have to go back. I miss being able to walk up to my half stack and shake my guitar and feel the feedback in my bones, you know. So definitely the Marshall half stack was like, that's like the amp.
Yeah. That's the mecca.
I'm trying to look into getting there's third power amps.
Like a boutique amp?
Yeah, there's a few that I'm looking at right now. Third power, Tyler amps, Morgan, Benson is another good one that I've heard of. And actually there's an Odis amps. It's OTIS.
I've seen those.
I want one of those. I don't even.
Is that a good amp?
I mean, I haven't played through one. He's in like Honolulu or something like that.
Really?
So, I mean, I've heard good things, but I've never played through one.
Really?
You know, and I like looking at reviews and stuff, and watching videos can only tell you so much about it.
Right.
Like it's when it comes to amps, it's more about feel. You know, for me, like how something feels.
You ever go to Guitar Center and just shred everything? It's one of my favorite things to do.
I like to I like having just a bunch of amps to just go plug into.
Yeah. Columbia, get him every single one of the amps he just mentioned.
Yeah, and dude, Matchless is like Matchless is the top right now.
Is it Matchless? Like a custom amp menu?
Yeah, that's what we used mostly on the last couple records. Like,
really?
Yeah.
That's what's in the studio.
Yeah,
you guys bring your own stuff in the studio, or studio have
dude,
that?
Kimball has he's got a ton of stuff now. It's like a what is it? Like a soup kitchen. Matchless, got the Bassman, you know, like the Plexi.
Yep.
Man, there's another.
You can get really cool noises out of a Plexi.
Yeah, that's what my Marshall head was.
Yeah.
It's a 1987 X. So it's nasty.
Ooh,
it's disgusting.
I got a Fender Hot Rod.
Oh yeah, dude, can't go wrong with Fender Hot Rods.
That's what I rock with.
Man, I honestly, I would like to. So ideal setup, I would like to have a dirty amp and a clean amp, because like you can always dirty up a signal. It's hard to clean up a dirty signal.
Yep.
So with like my Marshall, like go. Like pedal to the metal, like all the way up. That's my drive tone right there. You know, so if I wanted to clean it up at all, I've got to like dial back my volume knob or like pick with my fingers a little bit. But as far as getting like that spanky Fender tone, you just can't unless you know. So it's a lot easier to get a dirty pedal. But so I'd like to have a wet and dry amp.
What would be your, and by dry you mean clean, so what would be your clean amp of choice or head of choice?
The Matchless, the Benson makes some really cool. I mean, all of those amps that I just listed have really good clean amps.
Really?
The Third Power has a really cool. Basically, it's a mix. Like you can have different settings of Plexi, American, and British, like all three of them. So that's pretty sick.
I like that, man. I tell you what, and we'll send all of those companies an invoice for the shout out. Michael Odis doesn't play games. Michael Odis Parrish. So those are your amp choices.
Yeah.
What are your favorite? Like, what are your top 3 essential pedals that you need?
Dude, actually, my number one drive, I didn't pick out. I didn't buy it or anything. Mason found it in the back of a head that he bought.
Shout out to Mason.
Yeah, he was like, hey, here's this overdrive. I don't have any use for it. Like, sweet, I'll throw it on my board. I think I traded him like some delay pedal.
It's like Pokemon cards.
Dude, that's totally what guitar players do with pedals.
Oh, that's awesome. What kind of pedal is it?
Well, I still use it. It's a Mesa Grid Slammer.
Really? You still get those?
Yeah. I love it, man. But as far as brands go, Keeley. Keeley is top notch. Like most of my pedals are Keeley.
Really?
Good old company from Oklahoma.
There's a common theme here with you and your equipment. Oklahoma.
Yeah, actually, that's kind of funny. I never thought about that. But yeah, both of my custom guitars, the pedals that I play. I mean, honestly, I'm starting to notice through Shiloh. Shiloh knows everybody. Like, just talkative. He'll talk to a person that he like meets at the urinal. You know,
really?
He'll talk to anybody.
Guy.
Yeah. So like, I've realized there's a ton of big time touring musicians that live in Oklahoma. I guess because it's a little bit more inconspicuous. You know? You're kind of in the center of everywhere. If you need to go anywhere in the U.S., you're a little bit like in the center. So it's
state tax situation isn't too bad either.
Yeah.
Better than probably L.A. or any of the coastal cities for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Keeley pedals are fantastic. Walrus Audio.
What types of pedals though? So you're talking about brands. So you have a drive pedal.
Yeah.
You've got. And then what
normally
else?
have like right now I've got the Mesa Grid Slammer, the Keeley D&M drive, which is two drives, and I've got a JHS Morning Glory.
What is that? What is the
it's a drive. So really? I've got 3 drive pedals, but I don't ever use them like all at the same time unless I'm trying to get like some nasty feedback. Yeah. Because right now I don't have an amp, so to make feedback, I've just got to like overload the signal with drive.
Is that what a lot of artists are doing? No amps on stage, like you said. No.
Yeah,
stage
I mean, it
noise
definitely makes it cleaner
sound.
For sure.
But less raw.
Yeah. I mean, it kind of, like I said, like most of this is like, it totally doesn't make sense for me to go bring my amp back on stage, but it's totally a romantic relationship that I have with it. I mean,
getting them cheeks.
It's just, it just feels so much better, you know.
Well, I mean, what were Robert Plant and the boys doing back in the day when they were playing arenas? Stacks.
Exactly.
Of Marshall.
Exactly. That's
ears are smoked.
Right. Yeah. Done.
Terrible idea. Actually,
all of them are deaf. Yeah.
Terrible idea.
But yeah,
funny,
that's
man.
it. So we've got a few drives. I like the everybody's like, I love all the Strymon stuff that's coming out right now. Like,
what is that?
That's top of the line. Like I mean, they have everything, but most people, like if you look at anybody's board in the game, they've got their delay and reverb at least. But for ease, mostly just because I've used this for longer, I still like my TC Electronic Flashback by 4. Just because, like, we don't run with a click. Our set's super raw. I got to be able to change it fast.
Yep.
So it's like 3 presets and a tap tempo.
Yeah.
It's like really, really easy to use. So I love that. I've got that in a Walrus Audio the ARP 87. It's another delay pedal.
Really?
Yeah.
So kind of the basic stuff. So
yeah,
you're not using like wah pedals.
I do use my
wah
pedal.
Do you got a Crybaby up there?
Dude, oh yeah.
I haven't heard you guys incorporate wah, or you incorporate wah into a solo.
I do it pretty heavily on solos.
Why don't you play a show in Texas soon?
Yeah. So let's see.
And I'll be like, hey, don't forget, use the wah pedal.
See, mostly remind you. It's on like that outro solo that we do for Something to Talk About, like where I get to like shred. Yeah. There's wah there. Front Seat Show, I use wah on that one. Let's see what else. There's a few different things. Yeah, I mean wah's a pretty big staple. Yeah. But sometimes if you use it correctly, it's not overpowering.
Right.
You know, so
that's not like a Jimi Hendrix wah, like Voodoo Child wah.
Right. Yeah, if you use it correctly, there's sometimes where it should just kind of change the tone of it.
Right.
You know, it's not like that's a wah.
Right.
You know,
like Jimi Hendrix, he was exploring every possible extreme of effect on a guitar. Right. Everything. Tell you what, that solo, that national anthem solo, was unbelievable.
Yeah.
The Woodstock solo. Anyways, so guitars, humbuckers always. Do you ever run single coil?
Yeah, I mean, I think it depends on the song, honestly.
Really?
Like,
But you have some
I've
Strats or
my
Tellys?
number one guitar that I've played since I was with Clint Levi band was my red and black Fender American Telly.
Really?
Yeah, like songs like Something to Talk About. I like that twang,
Yep.
the single coil sound on that. Love.
Country sound.
Yeah, it's a
Good
little
for
bit. Then, like on Fuss and Fight and stuff, I like that the humbucker. And I actually, do you know who John 5 is?
Yeah.
It was the
My first amp had a lot of settings.
Rob Zombie and Marilyn Manson.
Yeah.
He plays Tellys, like,
Does he really?
exclusively.
Yeah.
So it's one of the reasons why I like Tellys is because it is a very diverse. Like, you can play metal with that thing, or you can play like the honkiest of tonk, you know.
The honkiest.
The honkiest.
Literally.
So
That's cool, man. So that's your go-to. That's do you play the Telly most?
No, I definitely use the humbuckers the most. But
Okay.
like up until I got this custom, the Black Beauty custom Les Paul was definitely my number one.
It's a beautiful machine.
Yeah, I mean,
That's a beautiful guitar.
It's
so how
aggressive.
long until Gibson contacts you and is like, hey, we need...
well, we've got a pretty sweet deal with the shop in Austin that gives us a pretty good hookup. So I honestly haven't talked to Gibson directly. Maybe I should, but
They'll probably be talking to you soon.
Yeah,
We'll
yeah.
see what happens when his next album releases. And they'll be like, hey,
Right.
can someone please get Michael Odis Parrish on the phone? Damn it.
yeah, man.
We need a custom.
we've got again, Jeb's got the hookups, man.
Yeah.
I'm telling you,
Jeb, come on now. We need a Michael custom guitar for every major guitar manufacturer in the United States.
get Odis P model. Yeah.
Odis P across the board.
Yeah. I remember the first time that I heard about Cross Canadian Ragweed, and actually the first time that I heard about Billy Gibbons was through Guitar World magazine.
Oh, those were awesome.
So actually, some of the first licks that I learned how to play were like, I got this big, huge catalog of Billy Gibbons licks. So that's why he's definitely in my top 5 for sure.
Yeah, gotta have a Les Paul if you're a Billy Gibbons
He's
fan.
probably number 3. But anyway,
Shout out to Billy Gibbons.
yeah, for sure.
Gotta
They
get him on the
got
podcast.
fire. Yeah,
Yeah.
that'd be nasty.
Billy, holler at me. Soon.
For sure.
Got Michael on here. Shit. Might as well. He's not as popular as you.
But yeah, I saw him and there's a Cross Canadian Ragweed with
A Les Paul?
no. There was just a story about them, like in they had their guitars. I think they do like PRS, I believe.
PRS.
Yeah. But
so
it was
many
like
good guitar
that was
manufacturers.
my first look at who CCR was.
Yeah.
Cody Canada in particular. I mean, that guy's a machine.
He was a machine. That's funny.
But yeah, that's definitely like once me and Shiloh get to do a Guitar World.
Just a
Yeah,
cover.
yeah, like
an editorial.
Right, yeah.
What'd you call it? Just a write-up?
An
I don't
article.
know.
Article, a write-up. Yeah.
Hey,
That's the word.
can Guitar World Magazine holler at my boy Shiloh and Michael Odis Parrish?
Yeah.
Because that's a great, there are very few instances, 'cause, a lot of things are going to change when we cross this next threshold of Koe Wetzel. Right. You guys could potentially go nuts busy. I mean,
Yeah.
but you got this Odis P thing. We
Europe.
talked about what that song means to you.
Yeah.
And it's very deep.
Yeah.
And you've got this, you talked about having this kind of, and again, if you didn't catch the beginning of this podcast, Odis P is Michael's solo project you're kind of doing on the side.
Yeah.
Talked about what Take Me Home means. And there's a lot of room for interpretation. I think that song would be very helpful for a lot of people.
Yeah.
But you've got this big plan, it sounds like. You got this kind of structure outlined in your head.
Yeah.
To people who say, because I think you posted something the other day about this, and I wanted to talk to you about it because I see the value in you doing that and how it could benefit even what your project with Koe. What would you say to those people who feel like that's going to be a distraction to your kind of main body of work right now?
I would say look at basically any large, well-known musician. That's what they do. I mean, whatever, like, whenever, wherever, however they can get their hands on, they're making music.
Yep.
Like again, back to the Tom Petty. I mean, his lead guitar player. Like Tom wrote Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers songs.
Mm-hmm.
But his lead guy wrote Boys of Summer by Don Henley. You know, I
Great
mean,
song.
yeah, so like you can't, if you listen to Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, it doesn't sound distracted at all. It was just Boys of Summer was something cool that he got to do alongside it, you know. And I would say, I mean, that's one of the greatest songs written. I love that song.
Legend.
So yeah, I would say that adds to what they've done. That's another piece of work, another masterpiece that he got to be a part of. And
Kind of in that
put out
ecosystem
there, you know?
of material that was created by that group of people.
Yeah, I mean, like art is so subjective. For one, you know, so there's a lot of stuff that I write that actually most of the stuff that I write personally, it doesn't fit with Koe Wetzel and the Convicts.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing that I'm trying to do to overshadow or to set apart. It's just different.
Yeah.
And these songs are more personal. Like I'm a deeper person. Like when I start writing, a lot of my inspiration comes from emotions and my faith and the deep feelings that I've had, you know.
Yeah. You've also gone through a lot and stuff I didn't know about. We talked about earlier in the podcast.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, you've gone through a lot of significant things. You know, your uncle, how close you guys were, your family kind of separating, and then you guys kind of rekindling your relationship with God. And
yeah, totally.
it's gone through a lot of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, it's not a distraction. It's just a different output of my creativity, you know. So
I feel like that's what it would do. I feel, you know, the people who wonder that, if you've ever been dedicated to a thing, to singularly focused on a thing, the same way you must constantly improve, you must constantly educate yourself, and if you don't do something like that, you're putting yourself and your main project at a disadvantage because you're not keeping, in your case, your creative edge sharp.
Totally, yeah.
And that's just kind of enhancing you. It's
I mean, how would writing more songs and being in a studio separate from where we normally are, being in a different environment with a different producer, with different musicians, how would those influences not help and benefit the Koe Wetzel brand, you know?
Yeah. No, that's exactly right. I mean, and to people who think that, I've probably very, very, as a percentage of your fans, probably less than 1% of people are even concerned about that. Right. But to those people, like, just think holistically about it. It only makes sense. It's going to make the music better. You guys are so dynamic already. Like, it's just going to help add to that as you guys continue to refine and shift kind of the type of music that you make. And I'm super excited to hear this album. And hopefully, if we got to sign an NDA or something, Columbia, hot your boy. I'll just sign it with him. Don't worry about it. I'd like to hear some of that shit. Can they hear us right now? We'll tell Columbia later. But I'll hear some of the songs. But that's going to be nuts, man. That's going to be crazy. But Odis P, how do you think you can continue to... You guys release this album, 2021. You're back on tour. Mm-hmm. Is it just kind of be one of those things like when you have time to work on it, you'll allocate time to it? Or you just make time for it?
I mean, yeah, just kind of make time for it. Well, like I said earlier, like I'm constantly writing, you know. So my, like I don't know if we really talked on it much, but earlier somebody asked about like how the creative process, like, it's like when I write a song for my solo project, it's a lot of being. Like I'll have like a line or something that rhymes or an idea for a song, and a lot of times it'll like I'll kind of just go off of that and develop it from that idea. But if I just have the line, like sometimes it'll sit in a note for 6 months, and then when I have writer's block, I'll just start reading all those notes, and then I'm like, oh wait, hey, cool, that goes together, and then I can kind of like create a different story from maybe wasn't the original inspiration of those specific lines, but then it ends up being a cool story. Yeah. You know, so that's a lot of it. It's basically just being inspired by different things and either developing it from that, and usually that happens very quickly. Right. If it's going to develop from the original idea or the original line, that happens in a very short amount of time. Usually the bulk of the song is written in minutes.
Yeah.
If not, then it's like,
or the material's there and you just rearrange it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like with Take Me Home. I mean, that song changed. I wrote that song like 4 or 5, maybe 6 years ago. And then up until like a month before I went into the studio, it had like that more like Mumford and Sons type vibe.
Really?
Like strum pattern and
You
everything.
can hear that in the song a little bit.
Yeah, so like with like a month before I went in to record it, I kind of changed it up to what it is now. Cause I tossed around a few ideas, but this one kind of like was like kind of kept the same idea, but it meshes better with everything else that I'm going to put out. So
I like it. I'm ready to hear more. You got a new single coming soon, don't you? Did I see you post something?
No, I've been putting out some acoustic just videos,
teasers.
Of some of the songs that are going to be on the EP, but I'm kind of holding out, waiting on the Koe record to be done. Kind of want to just focus on that. And then once it's done, completed, then I'll go in and I'll probably try and bust out a single pretty quick, because I've already got it in mind which one I want to do and everything. So probably try and bust that out real quick, release it pretty quickly.
Yeah. It's so easy to release music now.
Kind of to push for it is.
Also,
kind of use the single to push for what's coming next.
Yeah.
You know. So
where is that Koe album right now? I mean, is it like everything's recorded?
Pretty much, yeah. It's like 90%, 95%.
Yeah.
I'm done. I just went in like a couple days ago. There was one more track that we wanted to do something a little different. So I literally went in, played one track, and walked out. And so the guitars are done, drums are done. I think we're down to vocals, I believe, final vocal tracks. So,
really?
Yeah.
Time to get to work.
Oh, yeah.
Holy moly. I wonder, do you guys often go into the studio all at the same time? Or do you kind of just go in when you can? You guys all have different stuff going on?
A little bit of both. I mean, me and Koe will go in, like when we're doing guitar stuff.
Yeah.
Well, I say that. I mean, it's a lot of this album. It's just been me and Kimball, or me, Shiloh, and Kimball.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, there's not really rhyme or reason. Just kind of what happens.
Yeah, because a lot of the videos I see Koe post is like him and Tyler.
Yeah.
So I don't typically see all you guys in there together.
Yeah, like I said, he'll go in and like do like if he has an idea for the song, he'll go do scratch tracks.
Yeah.
And then send me and be like, hey, write something to this, you know. So.
Yeah, that's interesting, man. The whole process, like the creation of music, that it's just been crazy to see. Like I remember, we used to sit and I'd come over and watch you guys, and we'd be, just with Koe, and we were over in Texan Village or something, just jamming on a guitar, and just the amount of things you guys have accomplished, it's kind of crazy. It's unbelievable, man. And I feel like, think what one question most people would want to know that understand how kind of big you guys have gotten is, does it seem like it's a real yet? Is it materialized in your mind yet? Can you even really fathom how much exposure you guys have right now? Because so many people listen to your music.
On a sense, yes, just from like seeing the amount of people showing up to our shows and the numbers and stuff. But I mean, when I go home, I'm home.
Yeah.
I mean,
keep it separated.
Got neighbors, and even it's a little bit different with me too. Just like you were talking about earlier, from the, like that I seem like a different person when I'm on stage than I am now. So like I can
a little bit.
I put on my hat, put up my hair up, and put my glasses on.
Yeah. That's tame, Michael.
I can walk straight through the middle of the crowd and nobody knows who I am,
Yeah.
If I like put the hat on, put the glasses on, put my hair up,
How much longer can you go to Home Depot without getting harassed by groupies when you're buying your lumber?
I don't know. It happens in the most random places, like it's in a gas station somewhere. I was like, "Hey, you're Odis." Like, yeah, who do I know that knows you? He's like, "Oh, you play for Koe." Like, "Oh yeah." I was trying to play the face. Yeah.
It's happening.
Yeah.
How has that increased like exponentially over the last since Harold So High?
I mean, definitely. It actually, you know what? It slowed down once I moved from Stephenville because like Stephenville is like hometown,
Everyone knows you out there,
hometown
yeah.
heroes.
Yeah.
You know,
Everyone
so,
knows you out there. You probably have a little bit of privacy. And also, you do
we
have the
moved
different
so
look.
far away.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I got my hair up like it almost looked clean cut. You know. Then
Almost.
Almost.
Yeah. Dude, that picture that I stole from your Instagram that we used for like the title.
Yeah,
That's dope. That's a fucking cool picture.
Yeah. I love it.
But you have a lot of these like shred, like da-da-da, like rock star,
Right.
axe 'em up. I'm just ready for you to break a guitar so we can get a picture of that and bring you on for another episode. That would be the perfect title.
The one that I broke at the festival, I gave to my dad as a wedding present.
That's such a cool gift.
Because he helped me buy that guitar.
Really?
And then there was like a flat spot on the neck that was going to cost more to fix than the guitar was worth. I was like, I need to get him a gift anyways, and I was going to buy a cheap pawn shop guitar to smash, so might as well smash the Fender that I have.
Dude, that's so cool, man. He probably loves that thing.
Yeah, I got everybody to sign it. Cody Canada and Chris Colston and all of our band to sign it, and then like wired it back together and gave him a stand. So yeah.
Oh, so it's on a stand?
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. I can't imagine like, you know, what this journey has been like for your family, and your very close friends. I mean, and this is a question that I would ask all you guys, have relationships with the people that you care about changed, or have people tried to come back in your lives that really weren't in them and are all of a sudden like up your ass, like da-da-da, let's hang out, da-da-da. Like what has happened that has been kind of an annoyance, or what have you noticed about people now that you're kind of getting some fame? Family and friends.
You know, yeah, I mean, there is a little bit of that, like people that I haven't talked to in years since I was in high school, and didn't give me the time of day. You know, and this is something I'd like to focus on. I don't want to be like I've showed you.
Yeah, no. You're not that kind of guy.
Yeah,
but it happens.
Right. Yeah. Just people that I didn't even talk to in high school. Like people that didn't give me the time of day are now like, hey man, I'm coming to your show.
Let me get backstage.
Right, exactly.
Let me take a shot with you.
Now, the biggest change, you know, and I guess it kind of like happened about the same time that I was like going off to college too. So there was already like a little bit of drift from family.
Yeah.
So it's definitely been like, got to choose this. Like if I want to play music for a living, like I've got to choose this. Like I may not be able to make it to every family get together for the next couple years, you know.
But I'll tell you, it's funny you say that.
That gets to a point where it pays off, you know. So
well, I think it has, and it's going to continue to.
Right. Well, I mean, like eventually get to the point where we can kind of cruise,
right?
You know, and I can be home more with my family, you know. But you know what? I guess that's with any job. You know, your first few years. I mean, dude, my dad was working 3 jobs and going to school, you know. Yeah. So, I mean, you make do with the time that you have. Yeah. You make whatever time you do have quality, you know. So I guess that's what really matters. But
I'm going through the same thing. I mean, you know, with my father. I mean, we are so close. Like my best friend at my wedding. Yeah. But I am 100% like career mode. I'm trying to build my family, trying to get my career going. At some point, I'll be able to, you know, coast or not need to be as directly tied into what is going on, right?
For sure.
What is generating income for me and my family.
Exactly.
But I mean, right now it is, and that creates a rift, and it's tough to balance that out.
Right.
And for you, I can only imagine what that's like.
I mean, with Mia in particular, like, I mean, that's it's hard to make a marriage work, period.
Yeah.
But being more intentional, like trying to talk to her every day. So like honestly, I do better spiritually when I'm on the road, because it's like I've got to, like, I need to send her like read a devotional and send her a text, like kind of fuel into that. That's one of the biggest parts of being gone a lot, is trying to make her still feel important in my life. You know? Which, I mean,
I'm sure it's tough for her. I'm sure she doesn't. I mean, you were doing this when you guys met.
Yeah, we started talking. Actually, you know what? I think she went to that first sold out City Limits show. And I didn't know her yet.
Really?
Like, I think we were maybe like Facebook friends, like knew each other through acquaintances. But at that point, like I don't think we had even formally met.
Really?
So she's been like, I remember her driving the church van back from a show with me.
The old church van.
I mean, she saw the whole thing, you know, from that van, which was actually our second van. The first one was we got.
Remember those vans?
Oh man!
Now you guys got a big ass bus.
Yeah.
How is that, man? How's that big ass bus and being on the road on that thing?
It is a game changer.
I mean, from a rest perspective, like recovery.
Dude, I hibernate in my bunk. So I sleep so much better on the road than I do at home, and it's like my little like bear cave. I can crawl in there and sack out, and then like the next day, Mia's like, "Dude, why didn't you answer my phone call?" I'm like, "I just woke up." It's like, it's 2:30. Like I don't know what happened.
Well, you guys don't go to sleep till what time after a show?
Well, even when I do go to bed at a decent hour, it's like go to sleep. Well, like once the bus motor kind of starts and the road noise starts.
Ooh, that's it, huh?
It's like I'm rocked to sleep. I'm gone.
What about the other guys?
I don't know when I'm waking up.
Yeah. Pretty much the same. You guys are on the road, like people are out.
Well, there's like on our newest bus, there's a separating door. So like there's the main area in the front, one door, a set of bunks, another door, and another set of bunks. So everybody that wants to hang out and stay up later stays in that front room. So we've got another door for everybody that wants to sleep.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
Game changer. Another one.
It's fantastic.
Are you always the first to bed, Michael?
No. I mean, you know what? I do go to bed at a reasonable hour for us. I mean, normally it's like 3, 4.
Ooh.
That's reasonable. Yeah, so...
Sun's coming up. That's a little late. That's a late night for you.
Yeah.
That's crazy, man.
I remember one of my favorite things to do in new towns is like go explore. And if I can find anything to climb, I do. What
do you mean?
Like we were in North Carolina one time, and I found this tower that you could climb a ladder that went over some railroad tracks.
Oh shit! Like a water tower?
No, it was just like I actually don't know what it was for. I'm assuming some kind of maintenance or like loading something.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't remember, but. And then there was a building being built when we were in like St. Louis or somewhere in Missouri.
Yeah.
That I climbed up like to the second story, like on this lift, climbed up the lift, got on the second story, and it was just I-beams. Like, ooh. But that was one day that I had a late night. Like I was like just chilling on the second story of this building. And
day before your show?
It was after the show.
Oh shit!
So like we had another show. So yeah, this is at like 4 a.m.
What inspires you to do this?
I don't know. I honestly think it comes from the construction side thing. Like being
Really?
I love being on roofs. Love being in the high
like a monkey, man.
High places. But yeah, then I lost track of time because I was just kind of like chilling and watching the sunrise, and then I hear the air brakes on the bus.
Ooh. Did they leave you? Did they leave you if you're not on the bus?
Dude, I haven't ran that hard in a long time. And
is anyone calling you?
The reason I caught him, no, the bus driver's supposed to check and make sure everybody's on the bus because he was also leaving a little bit early.
Oh.
So, which I would have missed it anyways. Like, I totally had lost track of time.
Yeah.
But luckily, I caught him at a stop sign. He got out to like check something. And I'm like, I'm running up.
Does no one know that Michael's not on the bus?
Nobody does. Everybody's sacked out.
Oh, yeah.
And so he turns
While
around.
Michael's climbing construction buildings.
Sees this long-haired guy running at him at a full sprint. Freaks out.
That's crazy, man.
But yeah, that was a good time.
That's an interesting habit of yours.
Yeah, I like exploring.
Yeah, that's a fun fact. That's a lead guitarist type of thing to do, or a guitarist type of like that's a musician thing. It's like go and find a place to find inner peace, stay balanced. That's cool, man. So let's talk about because we've been going a long time, man. I think we're gonna have to get you on for a second one. I really think after the next explosion happens, if we can, maybe after that one, I'm gonna have to call this fucking the overlords and get their permission.
Just give me a call, man.
Columbia, I'll always take care of your people. Don't worry. Ask Michael, he'll tell you. But
That's the truth.
This balloon festival, we talked a little bit about it. But what has since been like the commentary around that? Have you guys been asked to do anything? Have the invitations to do like these events changed at all, or have they lessened? Or
not really. I mean, I haven't noticed a change.
Yeah,
we've actually that same year we played repeat festivals that we had been to before. I mean, I honestly didn't notice a change, except if anything, there was more.
Really?
Because
like
it
that.
was the best free publicity we have ever gotten.
It was huge, man. You guys had news coverage.
Yeah.
Like that, like going back to the timing thing, how things are just happening for you guys. That was a perfect thing to happen that fits into this image of
I think any
band.
parent, like their main complaint was that some people were complaining about the explicit lyrics. Like, well, and that it was a family show. Like, number one, it's a BYOB event. Number two, we got on stage at 10.
Ooh,
right off the
take the kids
bat,
home.
I'm not taking my child. If it's an impressionable child and you're wanting a family environment, a BYOB event with the headliner at 10 p.m. is not that place.
That you can quickly Google and see that they have explicit lyrics.
And know who, like, right. Why would you be so appalled?
Yeah.
Like, I don't expect somebody to like show up to a Limp Bizkit concert and like not know that they're explicit.
That's a great example.
I mean,
that's a great example. Limp Bizkit, love those guys. Yeah. Or like take an 8-year-old kid to a like Halloween movie. The fuck do you think's gonna happen?
Right, yeah.
Someone's gonna get their head chopped off.
Exactly.
You know,
right.
People leaving all disgruntled, like, oh my god, why'd you?
Well, I can remember coming from a super conservative Christian home. Yeah. Like, I couldn't listen to a CD unless, if it wasn't like found in the Christian section. I couldn't listen to a CD until my mom had listened to it first.
Really? Yeah. That's the thing. That's the thing that happens. It's crazy. I didn't grow up like that, but
I mean, like if you have those expectations for your kids and you have those boundaries for your kids, then check out who the entertainment is before you bring them to a BYOB event at 10 o'clock at night.
I feel like that's the nature of the world, though. We like put ourselves in bad situations and they complain about other people for doing it to us.
For it, yeah.
Like, no, bitch, you brought your kids here. What the fuck's wrong with you?
Right, get them some earmuffs or something and shut up and have a good time.
That's crazy. You guys have done a lot of festivals, though. Yeah. What have been the craziest? You guys have done Coke Fest. You guys have had your own festival. You guys have done Larry Joe Taylor. You guys have done Texas Mardi Gras. You've done several others. I'm not aware of. What have been the craziest ones to be a part of?
LJT in Stephenville is always a blast. Larry Joe Taylor Fest is always a good time.
If you haven't gone to that, also go pick a year. Go to LJT. You got to do it.
Go all week. Just get a camping spot.
Yep.
Just embrace the dirtiness. And you don't shower.
No.
Just eat junk food and drink beer and watch so many good bands.
The music is so good. And the energy is so good.
Yeah.
And that energy brings out the best music from the bands.
For sure.
It's like, that's because I'm sure there are some shows that are really fucking tough to play.
Yeah,
crowds,
yeah.
You guys always have a great crowd, but I'm sure, especially earlier on, like some crowds are just not.
Yeah,
the energy's not right. Or when you guys doing like an East Coast tour, and
I mean, you still kind of have that. Like, just because the crowd is big doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to have that you're going to be feeding off of each other. You know, which is also sometimes it's a lot of fun. Like, we haven't done this in a while, but I remember the first time we played. I think it was in like Alabama or something. We went into Fuss and Fight. And like the whole time, everybody's just kind of staring at us, like, who the heck are these guys? And we hit Fuss and Fight, like that big drop. Yeah. And as I go down to headbang, the whole front row goes back. It's
like boom. What? That's a big volume change. It's a big tone shift in a song.
Yeah.
Big time.
Yeah, and they were used to mainstream country at that venue too in Alabama, you know. So
mainstream country. We didn't even talk about that,
dude. They definitely had no idea what was happening on stage, which is so much fun.
You guys got so many fans that night. I remember when you guys were playing and Billy Bob's. It's like maybe the first time or second time, and they had the first area like blocked off, so people were all sitting down there.
Yes, yeah.
That was complete bullshit.
Yeah, that wasn't supposed to happen like that.
Yeah, I'm sure it wasn't. It looked like there was a mistake, but I mean, they really missed the mark on setting the tone for that, because that place was ready to explode.
What was funny is when Koe was like, "Everybody stand up,"
Yeah,
and the security runs in.
Yeah, that was crazy. I could tell I could tell on stage you guys were getting very frustrated.
Yeah, I mean, mostly it's just hard to feed off of that energy. I mean, you know, just because one, we're used to that. We like that. If you're used to playing for seated crowds, like, you know, I mean, not saying that Billy Bob's definitely took care of us. There's lots of good people.
Oh, they're great people. Yeah. And you guys also sold that shit out twice,
right?
2 or 3 times.
But I can definitely say just solely from an energy standpoint, the second show where we got to move the tables, it was so much better.
Yeah,
I mean, there's definitely something to be able to feel, you know. And I take that. I actually, there's been one show that we played, Cook's Garage in Lubbock, like just a couple weeks ago. Yeah, it was seated right in front of us, and I don't know if it was because we hadn't played in so long that we just had so much pent up energy, anyways. Yeah. But man, I didn't notice it that they were sitting down. Really? Like the crowd was still like, you know, fist bumping, like just head banging. Fist bumping. Yeah. I mean, you could tell that they had been missing it just as much as we had, you know. Yeah. So,
that's awesome, man. That's awesome. Because you listen to, and I touched on this a little bit, and we're running along a little bit here. It's fine. Modern like pop country, dude. What the fuck is going on? What's going on with the snap tracks?
That's the original break to Texas music. You know, was because of the over commercialized version of music coming out of Nashville. Yeah.
There's only a few outlaws like Luke Combs and those there's only a few people who are really great artists in the mainstream country scene, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, you know, Sturgill is one of my favorites. Killer. Jason Isbell, you know,
Tyler Childers coming up.
Tyler Childers is good. Luke Combs, Muscadine Bloodline. If you haven't listened to those guys, those guys are insane.
You guys got me on them. You guys talk about them all the time.
Man, some of the coolest guys and some of the best songwriters that I've heard in a long time.
Really,
and they do the mainstream Nashville sound in a very cool way. Like they're writing their own songs, and like some of the rhythms that they throw into it, you can definitely hear that they listened to post-hardcore when they were in high school, you know.
We all did. They're the right age.
Like it's a very, very mainstream sound, but they make it theirs, you know, which is what, like, I mean, you have so many different bands that play Texas country or American country or rock and roll or anything. What makes a great artist is being able to stand out among other people that sound just like you, basically, like to an untrained ear, you know. So like, make it your own, you know. Yeah,
they do that very well. Yeah, you listen to more of them.
I think so, man. They got some good tunes.
Well, Michael, man, I tell you what, you guys are about to blow the fucking doors off of Nashville, and I hope that people see you coming. I hope that those guys out of Nashville see this little band out of Texas that just signed with Columbia. It's about to rip their faces off. Yeah, because I think you guys are part of an entire movement. I think that's changing, including the bands you just described, are kind of changing, and music and the country music scene the same way I think that some of the other genres of music have already shifted toward this kind of more unique, more diverse, sound. Yeah. I think country's kind of one of the last genres to move toward that model where you got all this different subgenres within the genre. Yeah, and you guys are like just rock, this crazy hybrid of all these different things and changing constantly. And I can't wait to hear the next album. Yeah, I can't wait to hear it. But
so it's like I said, it's got some goods for like sounds like when you think like Noise Complaint. It's got some of those like OG kind of tones. Yeah. You know, sounds like Koe Wetzel and the Convicts. You know, but then it's also got a few that have evolved with us as well. Yeah. So yeah,
that's huge, man. Well, everyone, go follow Odis P and go listen to "Take Me Home." Awesome song. Go check out Mia's workout video. That's hilarious. Go follow Koe Wetzel. find out where you guys are touring next, when your shows are coming up, and go see those. Yeah. If you like this podcast, share it. Think there's a lot of you're a really interesting guy, man. I think a lot of people would love to learn more about you, and it kind of adds to the, I think the package that is Koe Wetzel and Odis P.
Yeah.
So this has been awesome, man. Thank you for coming on.
Man, thanks for having me. Yeah. It was a good time. You want
to go get some more coffee and maybe have another little glass of whiskey?
I'm down.
You can observe my carpentry work.
Let's do it.
Money. ADB podcast. We're out.
Give me